everyone, and welcome to another Tinfoil Tuesday. How's everyone doing? Ooh, my coloring is all off today. It'll do, it's fine. How's everyone doing? Hope you're having a good week so far. I'm back with more tinfoil. We got a bunch of it. We got a bunch of crap. Happy recession indeed, everyone. Felicity, thanks for 2 months. Annie McKean, thanks for 27 months, says good afternoon. 27 months, so Arnold Foot and Helga Hand have a new sibling. What was his fucking friend on that show's name? Gerald Pancreas. There we go, I did something. Overthought, thanks for 48 months, says 4-year anniversary. I can't believe 4 years in tinfoil. I'm making it tinfoil. The tinfoil anniversary. Is anyone with me? So yeah, we have a bunch of fun stuff happening today. We got CC, we got a bunch of stuff. We have vampires, we have zombies, we have someone psychically communicating with a lobster. We have all sorts of good stuff. What stuff do I need to get out of the way? If you want to help support the stream, I've had days off and stuff, and I had to work, so if you want to help, consider gifting subs. We're already behind for the month, because I started so late, and have taken 2 days off already. Are we doing Jordan Peterson, the Lobster King conspiracies? No, luckily. Piper Draws and stuff with 36 months says, anniversary, let's go. Indeedly do. That's a 3rd anniversary and a sub baby. This sub baby's name is gonna be Tartuffe Smith. Professor Daddy 1118, thanks for 31 months, says just back from the local protest and get the tinfoil weirdness. Well, I hope it helps you wind down. We are on a hype train, 22% to level 2. Nemesaur, thank you so much for gifting 20 tier 1 subs. Thank you very much. You are always a consummate supporter of the channel, and I appreciate it so much. So, with the hype train going, I think we can probably get into CC's newest video. We'll do that. I don't think I have any, I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like I'm forgetting something, so I might have to, come back to it or something. God damn, I really look like a fucking geisha today. My makeup application was bad. I got new makeup sponges. They put the makeup on weird. We are playing bingo, so make sure you get your bingo cards ready. My birthday's coming up soon. In 8 days, so if you want to send me anything, send it to the P.O. box. Here's the address for that. Dr. Worm, thanks for 43 months. Okay, let's get into it, shall we? Ignore how pale I am today. Ignore it!
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County. It's 2:27:25. Yes, sir. What a show, huh? Well, if you're a flat earther, we're having quite a show over here, unless if you've been asleep for the last couple of months.
I think he's talking about the new thing that landed on the moon. Not sure exactly what it was, but something landed on the moon and there was video of it, and he's upset about it.
Why don't we get right into it? Let's
recording in car on the bingo card, obviously.
Let's start off with some history, shall we say, of myself. When I first got into this, there was a little thing, well, maybe it wasn't the day I got into it, maybe a couple of years after I got into it, there was a little thing going on with veganism and some other bullshit. Some YouTuber creators were fighting amongst each other, and I think if you go way back into the Wayback Machine and see...
I have no idea what he's talking about vis-a-vis the vegan thing.
There was one video I put out saying, why can't we all just get along, or some bullshit like that. Whatever year that is, that's when that happened. That was I don't know, I would say maybe 6 years ago, 7 years ago, my guess is. Somewhere around there. stupid shit. That's all it is. You know. Now, I've been doing this for a lot longer than you think. Okay, because remember, whenever the first video I put out was, I spent almost up to a year contemplating it, you know, trying to figure out if it was actually true or not, and going back and looking at videos and looking at...
I don't think he's anti-vegan. I think he's talking about a specific drama in the flat earth community, because there are some flat earthers that are pretty staunchly vegan, like Nathan Thompson's one, but there are others as well, and they don't necessarily like, you know, that people aren't vegan, and there are fights between, I think, some more religious flat earthers who think that, you know, God put animals here for us to eat. And I think they were arguing with the vegan ones. It's irrelevant. It's an old drama he's bringing up. Minute left on the hype train.
The ocean, you know, and looking at the stars.
Green guy with the dollar says, Hannah, we already watched this. Just pure truth. I did gardening today. It was 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, I hope the gardening was good. And we didn't watch this. This came out. We haven't done tinfoil since then.
And just read.
Stone Corbell, thank you so much for gifting a sub. Gift subs, always appreciated. Thank you.
Examining movies, you know, and seeing globes in every fucking movie for no reason at all.
The most recent lander had a fisheye lens for the landing, and Flurfs think it's fake. Yeah, they're not fans of fisheye lenses, despite them, you know, having an actual purpose. Not meant to trick you.
And looking at the stars and just re-examining movies, you know, and seeing globes in every fucking movie for no reason at all. And
I want to point out, as someone who watches a lot of movies, there aren't globes in every movie, unless you count, you know, being on planet Earth as a globe. But he doesn't, so I won't. Bittergrin, thanks for 50 bits.
The back of a
Oh, it was on the Wingnut Roundup. Gotcha.
detective's office. What the fuck is a
Thanks for the hype train.
globe doing there? You know, why is it in any of these? Why is it in all of these music videos that I used to watch when I was younger? You know, and then it finally occurred to me they need the conditioning. You see, when you see that globe,
how many music videos have the globe in them? Again, it's not zero, because like globes are gonna pop up sometimes. The planet we're on, sometimes pictures of the planet or symbols of the planet are gonna show up in things. But it's interesting that they have such a focus that they think they're everywhere. I forget what this is called, but there is a phenomenon where when you are thinking about something, you notice it more when it's out in the world. And because you are putting significance on that, you start thinking like, oh, it's more than a coincidence that I'm seeing this all over the place. But in reality, you're not seeing it any more than anything else. You're just really focused on that thing. What about the Universal Pictures openings? Yes, he counts that one, but, you know, that's only one studio.
Know you're looking at it or not, it doesn't make a difference. It just keeps you conditioned. Okay, they need this. They need you to be asleep. Okay, they need you to keep thinking about the stupid shit in life and not researching flat Earth. Okay, and not doing your homework, and not...
He's once again, he always illustrates this, but he's unable to comprehend that to most people, the shape of the Earth isn't a pressing issue. He seems to genuinely believe that this is something that is worth hiding and including millions of people in on a conspiracy simply to hide the shape of the Earth, which he thinks is a big deal. Google says the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon, or the frequency illusion. Thank you. Appreciate it, Quasispec.
Understanding everything that you used to do and understand when you were a kid is all bullshit, and everything you learned in school is all bullshit. All right? They don't...
Everything, including math. Asking for a friend. Green Guy says, I did a veteran's vocational test today for getting a job after the Navy, and I accidentally took my night meds this morning, so I did pretty good being high in matching shapes. Excuse me. It's gonna be interesting seeing where they place you.
I want you to know this. They're trying to buy as much time as they can. They've only been doing this for a short time now. You know, and if you really look at it in the terms of, a couple, maybe a year, I mean, not a year, 4 generations, that's really what they're working on right now. 4 generations of lies and bullshit.
So he thinks that the understanding that the world is a globe only goes back 4 generations. That's very untrue. We have, like, primary sources showing people having the understanding of the shape of the Earth that go back much further than that. NASA, or even, like, anything in the 20th century, that's not the origin of the globe as our cosmological model for what the shape of the thing we're on is. Ugh.
Forget about 500 years ago, okay? I'm talking about now. Things that we can actually physically prove to each other about how long this lie has been going on. 1950s, NASA was created, the sky was owned by NASA. You can't shoot anything up there without getting an okay. I can't go in my backyard and go with a GoPro rocket without getting okayed and certified through some ridiculous group, FCC, or whatever.
The FCC. The FAA, probably. For drones, it's the FAA. For rocket stuff, I'm not sure. There are people who do that, but, like, it's not that difficult to get clearance to do stuff like that, depending on where you are. The reason that it is restricted at all in terms of airspace is because under that airspace, there are often businesses and homes and people, and if you shoot something up into the air, I don't know if you know this, usually comes right back on down, eventually. So the reason you gotta get okays for certain things is to make sure you're not gonna shoot a projectile off that's gonna go hit someone or something, and that's just, like, basic. But, like, people do that kind of thing all the time. You can go find numerous YouTube videos of people doing their own little tiny rockets or whatever and putting GoPros on them. Balloons I've seen. There was that guy some years ago, Mad Mike, that did amateur rocketry, where he was in the rocket and he died because he was shooting off rockets with himself in them. They were amateur rockets, and I think the parachute on the rocket didn't trigger correctly or something. So to say that people can't do this is absurd. It's a safety thing, Chris. It's not a conspiracy. We just don't want things landing on people or their houses, and I don't think that's unreasonable. Fenekagami says, ever noticed how outside of literal children, it always seems to be the most spiteful, abusive, and divisive people who ask the question, why can't we just all get along? I have noticed that.
Or maybe. You can't do anything. You don't own that sky up there. You own nothing. You don't even own that parking spot that you're in right now. You're paying for it.
I find it interesting that because he's in a parking space right now, he seems to think the viewer is also in a parking space. This is completely specious, but I do find it a little interesting that, like, his brain goes, yes, I am filming this in a parking space, so his brain fills in an audience also in a car somewhere. It's not how I would think of it, but whatever. Nerdy says, the ancient Greeks knew the Earth wasn't flat, and yet flat earthers seem more interested in Mayan opinion. Assuming that is the Mayan opinion, 2012 is a reminder weirdos don't know shit about what the Mayans think. You know what? I don't care what the Mayans thought. I'm not gonna get social pressured from Mayans.
But don't you see the control? And that's what the government does, is they want to control everybody. They have...
The government is famously in charge of parking spaces.
Billions. I don't know what...
He's still developing a theory of mind. I almost want to say that, sincerely. I almost want to go, wow, he really can't think laterally enough to recognize, like, just because I'm filming this in a car doesn't mean people are viewing it. But that's reaching. That's just me being an asshole.
The population actually is, but let's just say hundreds of millions. Let's just say the population here in America. They want to control hundreds and hundreds of millions of people, okay, and make them think one cult, and that cult is a globe. By hiring these fake scientists, that one of them happens to be a comedian, the other one doesn't even have a fucking degree, worked for Walt Disney at one point.
The two scientists I'm not even sure exactly who he's talking about. I'm assuming the Works for Walt Disney one might be Bill Nye, because Bill Nye the Science Guy was owned by Disney. It might still be. Don't know who the other person he's referencing, but this is a weird thing that Chris and some other flat earthers do. They conflate science communicators with scientists. So they will start criticizing, like, Bill Nye, or, I don't know, maybe if you're Canadian, the guy from Beekman's World, Neil deGrasse Tyson. And they'll act as though by critiquing them personally, they've somehow poked a hole in science itself. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. But that's what they do. They'll look at Neil deGrasse Tyson and, like, say something they don't like about him personally, or, basically a genetic fallacy. That's all they're doing. Ryan Sip, thanks for subscribing. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That looks like a new subscription, too. New subscriptions are awesome. Thank you.
And get them talking and do shows and reiterate.
Neil deGrasse Tyson is a bad example because he's an actual scientist, but usually they're talking about him from the perspective of his media work and not his actual work in astronomy.
The globe. Okay, and that's what they want. That's what they want to do to everybody here. It's sad. It really is. That generation after generation after generation is being lied to, Well, that's come to an end. And that's why all of this is going on right now. Now, the experiment that happened down in Antarctica, and I don't even want to call it an experiment because it really wasn't. It was an observation, as far as
They did multiple experiments while they were there. The trip was part of the experiments, but overall it was an opportunity to do multiple experiments, which they did. MC Toon, for instance, you can check out his channel. He did a number of experiments while there. Time lapses of the whole thing. Talking about the final experiment here. If you missed that, that was recently. A pastor named Will Duffy took a bunch of flat earthers down to Antarctica to prove to them that the 24-hour sun, the Antarctic summer, exists. One of them has renounced flat earth, Jeranism, which Chris will talk about a little bit here in a bit.
I'm concerned. It was something I wanted to check up on YouTube, but I'm just going to go out and say.
I think he's talking about Von Braun. He might be.
I don't think we live under what I thought we live under, an actual, dome. I think it's more of a stadium, almost, on our flat ground here.
So to be clear, he still thinks we're covered by something. He just thinks the shape of it is not a literal perfect dome or like a football stadium. Okay?
That would explain the sun and the reflections of the sun, how you can see the sun in different places. I don't think it's flat. I think it's a little bit curved on top. That's how you can create that 24-hour.
I have Carpcosian. I enjoy that song. Lucas Dawn, thanks for 45 months, says new sub baby to join No Name, Bond, James Bond, Odd Jobs Hat, and Dr. No's Cat. Oh, Jesus. I'm running out of James Bond things. Money Penny's, Money Penny's desk. We did it. We did it.
Our sun.
So now the 24-hour sun is a reflection of the real sun. Yes, that is a claim that some of them have started making since the observation in the south.
In Antarctica. But I don't think it's an actual, just depicted in the Bible or something like that. Like Spielberg did with his show Under the Dome. And I don't think it's something. I think it's a different shape, and that's actually what's creating the 24-hour sun. That's the only thing I could think of.
I can think of a different thing. We're on a globe, and the globe model is correct, and the 24-hour sun is exactly what we expect to see on that model, and that's why it was shown. Hot take.
And the sun being in different points. And it would explain the stars, too, in a way. That it almost looks, if you really look at it, I don't know.
Sorry, there are a few tips I missed. Just a Peach says there are parks you can do it at that have special areas for it. They also used by ham radio operators use them for temporary antennas. And another tip says, I'm so old Bill Nye was speed walking superhero on Saturday Comedy Show. It was where the science guy stuff got started. It was also on an episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood before Bill Nye. MH Darkbeast says, yeah, but DeGrasse Tyson let Michael Bay use his observatory for the awfulness of turtles, too. So a pox on him.
It's hard to explain. I mean, there's no parallax, obviously. There's nothing. So these are
Is it Mardi Gras?
In the sky.
No.
What you're looking at is like the Hayden Planetarium. Okay, that's basically what you're looking at. Go down to the Hayden Planetarium, kids. Okay, it's still there in New York City, and go inside, and you can't tell the difference from the inside or the outside. All right, but that's an actual dome. So I don't know. I think it might be kind of the shape of like almost like what they would have in a stadium, you know, something like that. Not as tall. I think the height isn't. You don't really need height. Because how far are we going to travel? I mean, if you think of it in terms of height.
Agreed, Quasi-Spec. I'm glad that I paid attention in school more than some of the other kids.
I mean, you need the length, you need the land, but you don't need the height. They control the...
Ashley One-Up says, ever noticed that the globe Earth theory hasn't had to readjust the goalposts every 5 minutes to make the globe work? But sure, flat Earth is the truth. Ryan Cooper says, go buy your own beads. Whatever. My wife will give me beads later.
Airways up there. You can't just go into a rocket that you make in your backyard and blast off into space. You can't do that. You'll either be shot down.
Someone hasn't seen The Astronaut Farmer.
So that's what I think. Now, let's go on to the little treat that we have here that we could all talk about, and I can give you my experience with it in the many years that I've been doing this. Let's get into Patricia Steer. Okay, I did a show with her a long time ago. I think it was she was downloading all of her shows. You remember when she came back? Yeah, disappeared for 4 or 5 years. Bye. We dated that idiot out in the UK or whatever. Antonio, I think his name. I don't know.
He's talking about Patricia Steer now. Patricia Steer she was a flat earther back in the day. She might still be a flat earther. I don't know what her beliefs are. But she was a co-host with Mark Sargent on one of his shows. She appeared in the documentary Behind the Curve, which you may have seen on Netflix. Anyway, she ended up leaving the flat earth community, largely in part because she was getting harassed by other flat earthers. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of conspiracy theorists are incredibly misogynistic, and they also have a tendency to start transvestigating every woman around them. So unfortunately, Patricia Steer is a cis woman, not that it's any of my business when anyone, if they're cis or trans or whatever. But they started transvestigating her and being, like, really rude to her and mean and just saying really fucking gross stuff. So she ended up leaving the Flat Earth community. I think she did start re-uploading some of her old stuff a little while back, but she deleted everything from her channel as of now, so. Benekagami says, a problem I have with the genetic fallacy is assuming a claim is a lie based off of who said it is kind of a necessity in today's age, where so much information is being thrown at us constantly. Sometimes if the source is sufficiently unreliable, like Trump, it tends to be a safe bet that the claim is a lie, especially given how exhausting fact-checking can be. There's gotta be a heuristic related to that. Like, if someone is a consummate liar, you shouldn't trust them. I don't know. Usually it's more along the lines of it's completely unrelated to the argument, though. Like, if you said, this person is a known liar, that's not necessarily a genetic fallacy. You're giving a reason. It'd be like if you were saying, this person's ugly, so you shouldn't trust them. Like, it has nothing to do with the topic at hand. It's completely a personal insult, basically.
Fucking who cares? Doesn't make a difference. They had a falling out. That was the drama back then. That was like 4 or 5 years ago. She disappears for 4 years and then just pops up and goes on a show and starts hosting a show out of the blue. Then starts downloading and then uploading all these videos that she used to do 10 years ago and uploading them all up again. Actually, one of my shows is going to come on. I think she was up to about 160 the last time before she killed her channel. I was actually going to speak to her and see if once she gets to mine, you know, we'll do an update on it or something like that. Well, I guess that'll never happen. Well, she got bought out. Obviously, all the years she's been doing this.
Ad hom and genetic fallacy are the same thing.
All of the research she's done about NASA and talking about this, all of a sudden she just woke up one day and said, that's it with flat Earth. Let's wonder how that could happen.
So this is interesting. For a large portion of the rest of the video, he's basically going to opine about Patricia and Jeranism and assume and talk as though it's just a fact that they have been secretly paid off by some unknown source, and that's why they're no longer flat earthers. In the case of Patricia, I don't even know that to be true. She just deleted her content, which may entirely be because she gets harassed by flat earth dudes. I don't know. But either way, what's interesting about this, as the tone and the way he talks about this, I notice, isn't what it used to be. It doesn't even sound like he's mad at the concept of people being paid off to not talk about flat Earth anymore. He almost sounds bitter that he's not getting approached by the government and paid off in order to not talk about flat Earth anymore. Yeah, Ashley, yes. He basically, for the rest of this video, sounds like he really wishes the government would show up and give him like $1 million to stop his channel because I guess he thinks his thing is so important that it needs to be silenced? I don't know. He just wants money. And who doesn't? Money's great. Helps you buy goods and services.
Very easily. Dinero! Yes! So let me think. Okay, in a perspective, if I wanted something paid off, you know, I wouldn't go with the car. I know most people would say, oh, I want to buy a Mercedes or whatever, you know. No. Mortgage. You got to think mortgage. Having your house fully paid off and getting that 30-year burden off of you. So let's take a look at the numbers here. Here in Westchester County, a house is probably going to cost you anywhere from $750,000 plus.
You would take it to science has proven it. It has been shown in studies that conspiratorial-minded people are more likely to participate in conspiracies than those that are not. More or less, to some extent, when people say, they're hiding the moon landing, it's because they relate to that position, because if they were asked to help hide the moon landing, they would be more prone to say yes. Not the entire picture, that's a very small vertical slice of conspiratorial thinking, but it is something that has been shown, interestingly.
$35,000 in taxes, and that'll buy you.
I see the story about how older DVDs might stop working. Oh, the Warner Brothers ones, that's like a known issue in the Blu-ray and DVD community. For years, that's been a known thing. It's a very specific set of DVDs from a specific era that weren't manufactured correctly. Nerdy says, this just sounds like Cece's mad that only real conspiracy money isn't being paid to him. Yeah. Benigagami says Cece might get recruited to Trump's clown show to help RFK Jr. distract the public with fake science.
You maybe a quarter of an acre of land at best. You might even get a garage in there too. Having that fully paid off, all you have to do is worry about the taxes. Not bad. Not bad at all. I think she just moved, didn't she? A couple of years ago? So she just started a new mortgage. But, let's see, she's not out in Westchester County. She's in Texas. I don't know what the real estate is out in Texas, but I'm sure it's not as much as Westchester County. So, granted...
Depends on where in Texas.
You know, maybe her note cost $250,000. Maybe somewhere around there. Quarter of $1 million, maybe somewhere around there. Okay. Somewhere around there. Well, a new Mercedes is going to cost you about $110,000. So, what would you rather have? Would you rather have your house paid off or a new car? I mean, car means shit. That's the worst thing you could ever invest in to begin with.
He's put thought into this. You see what I mean? It feels like he's been spending his time thinking about this and daydreaming in the way that you do when you kind of feel trapped in your life and you just wish things were better. You kind of daydream like, oh, if I won the lottery, if some crazy thing happened and I had influence or money or whatever. You know, random, vapid daydreams everyone has from time to time to escape the drudgery of the world, and his apparently involved getting paid off to not talk about this shit on his YouTube channel.
But anyway.
But I support Flat Earth for $1 million. You want an honest answer? Probably. It's pretty fucked up. I really wish I could say no. But I don't know, I'm just at that age where, like, life is a nightmare, and there's never enough money. To be clear, I would take that money fully hoping someday to come back out and be like, I was paid to do that. But, yeah, no, I'm pretty desperate.
10,000.
I'll tell you what, if I ever come out and I'm like, I'm a flat earther now, I'll wink at you, and you'll know I'm just doing it for the money.
Dollars the minute you freaking leave the parking lot of the dealership. So, no, it would be probably a mortgage.
Ripper, thanks for following.
I would imagine. Okay. Same with Jaredism. Let's take a look at his situation. Well, he just moved too, because apparently his address was given up through the internet, and he...
How wrong would it be to contact CC, pretend to be from the Illuminati offering to pay him off? It would be pretty wrong. I wouldn't recommend it. Overthought says, always get half up front. 500,000 isn't nothing. True.
He was worried, so he had to buy a new place. He got his mortgage paid off. Now, who's paying this off? Will Duffy? No, I don't think so. I don't think he has that much money. He might have been able to flip the Antarctica observation down there, but I don't know if he could pay for these mortgages. I don't think he has that much money, but who cares? Doesn't matter where the money's coming from.
Hydrate.
All I know is that they got it. They got paid.
No evidence of that. He's just saying it.
And that's how it is.
Oh, conspiracy theorist tells on themselves on the bingo card for him making it pretty clear that he would take a bribe if offered the opportunity. Hydrate.
It happens in every situation. It happens with the fake politicians. It happens with the faked actresses. It happens with the faked sports guys. It happens with all of them. Give up that fight. We'll give you $1 million. Give up that throw the game. $5 million. Okay? And then people bet against it because they know at the end. No, someone's not going to put 10 years of their life into something and then just wake up one day and say they've had enough.
Kind of depends on the thing, doesn't it, Chris? Kind of depends on the thing. People do that all the time. Not necessarily the most common thing, but people do change things. They change their beliefs. They realize, oh my god, I've wasted my life. Oh my god, I've made a bad decision here or there. I need to adjust, or that happens all the time to people who are able to introspect and, like, look at themselves and their beliefs or their actions and to be able to learn from them. That's actually pretty common.
Doesn't work that way. Not flat Earth. Not this. Because you're not forced to know about it. Okay? You are given the idea and you run with it yourself. And then you start tearing it down yourself. And there is no way of putting it back. There's just...
Except there is if you realize you were wrong.
No way. You can't go back to the space bullshit that goes on. No, you can't. You can't go back and say that, yeah, maybe we did go to the moon. Yeah, that's right. Maybe the moon actually is a physical object. You know, maybe I should be able to see a 50-mile crater from 268,000 miles away with my P1000. Maybe I should be able to see that. That's right. Maybe Elon Musk really is shooting these things off into space. Maybe. They're not wearing harnesses on the ISS. Maybe there's no helium in the space shuttle when it takes off. Maybe, just maybe, there is a curvature, and I'm not
Yeah, doesn't understand how cameras work for his P900 thing. I'm sorry.
seeing it. It's bullshit. They're all paid off. They're all done. They're all finished. You'll probably never see them again. And if they were trolls, well, they'd be on my channel trolling me. Okay? But they're not. I highly doubt you're going to see Patricia coming on my channel and start fighting for the globe Earth.
What's this thing with helium in the space shuttle? Liquid helium is part of, like, fuel or something, so he just thinks there isn't actually fuel in the fuel tank.
I doubt that. And same with Jared Esmond. No, you're not going to see them. You're never going to see them again. They got paid. That's it. They're done. You know, they'll go into this documentary and other nonsense with what they're going to do with their footage.
Chris thinks he's more influential than he really is. Yeah, I don't think he understands, like, even if you were at, like, 100,000 followers, it's nothing in YouTube. Like, you're not noticed until you get, like, millions of followers. I don't think he understands. It's funny, because, you know, flat earthers are largely bad at judging scale, as we've talked about before. I don't think he realizes how tiny his channel is, how his and mine and anyone in our echelon of, like, non-existent YouTube. We don't exist as far as it exists, you know? As far as it matters. Very weird. H-Bird says, I want to get paid off. The Earth is flat. The moon landing is fake. Now gimme, gimme, gimme. Sorry, the helium is a coolant. Thank you, Orion Cooper.
Hours of this footage, but I'm just curious to find out, you know, how much money they did get, you know, and it just, you know, it's just a drama. That's all it is, guys. And you know what? They needed Antarctica. They needed Antarctica to hide this fact to get the bigger guys going out. You know, that's what they needed. Not that Patricia was really that big, but in the beginning she had, I don't know, like 20 or 30, maybe 40,000 subs or something like that before she killed her channel a few years ago. There was one other thing too that I wanted to tell you before I go with Patricia. When I did do her live show, you know, I was expecting like a little something at the end of the show when we were off air. Maybe we could talk and just bullshit and laugh and giggle, because we could have. It wasn't like either one of us were doing anything. She just blanked out. That was it. You know, she didn't even really smile at the end when we were off air. You know,
maybe she didn't enjoy talking to you. Reddit Cuttlefish, thanks for 2 months tier 2 33 months. Says he thinks the shuttle orbiter was a big helium balloon. This is a gross misunderstanding of NASA using helium as a pressurization source for some systems, and also in the helium purge seals for the SSMEs, among other things.
And I was in the middle of trying to get something in, and she was like, and then clicked the button, and then that was it. I never saw her again, or never really heard from her. She popped in.
Why is he stuck on Steer? Because he thinks she got paid off, and he thinks he deserves to get paid off.
Time to time on my channel, just to leave little notes, little tidbits and stuff like that. But that was pretty much it with her.
That's true. She did do the "you should smile more" toots thing.
She got rid of her vanity plate. Okay, that was one thing that made me a little suspicious too. And I was like, well, why would you do that? Why would you just get rid of that? It's not that it costs much money. It's really nothing. But anyway, so be it. They're gone. It's just us now, guys. Maybe I can get their subs to come over here or something. I don't know. Is that possible?
Oh, here he's bitter too that, like, she had so many subs and she left, and he wishes he had the subs. It's just so bitter.
Can you contact their? Oh no, their channels are gone. they're totally gone. I think. I don't even think they exist anymore. I haven't even bothered looking. Or you know what they should do? They should evenly distribute their subs to other flat Earth channels. Not only mine, give it to everybody else. Come on, let's all be a happy family here. All right. I thank you for subbing. I thank you for viewing my videos. Let me be a part of your life.
Well, that's certainly something, isn't it? Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you. Should you find Chief Motto? No, I don't think that's a good idea at all. Hey! So, you know, the January Sixers, unfortunately, got pardoned. However, it might bring you some joy to know that they are currently fighting amongst themselves about which one of them are real patriots and which one of them are psyops.
Oh, just so you know, regular J6ers were really upset with Jake
Can I talk?
over the money.
Can I talk?
Of course.
I know exactly. Listen, Marty and all, like, the spies and everybody's like this one and that one. Right now, we're trying to make America great again with this garbage. We're so, like, skeptical of everyone. No, Jake Lang is not a psyop. He's a spoiled rich kid who had a little too much to drink that day and he got carried away. Nobody's a damn psyop, okay? I'm not a fan of Jake Lang because Jake Lang is my friend, but I'm no more a fan of him than I am, American terrorists. Everybody's my friend. But I suffered. Louise was just on a space with me. She saw the way I got lost in a fucking airplane, okay? For people who think I'm a psyop. It's just like, why don't people...
Of course they're infighting. The only thing they have in common is that they all got arrested for being angry idiots. Of course. They are sped up. I didn't speed it up. Whoever uploaded this clip sped it up. So I apologize.
People focus on making America great, okay? Enriching one another, helping the president, like keeping our borders closed, like, creating jobs.
Yeah,
Who cares
we've been over this
cares
stuff,
about these
Gina.
stupid people like Marty thinking people who really suffered on January 6th? I don't want to get into January 6th bullshit. Everybody's a psyop.
Yeah, we know. You want a
Look at
reality TV
yourself.
I can't slow it down. There's no option for me to slow it down.
show is what you
Big
want.
fucking deal. I want to win the money. I don't fucking care what you think, Marty. I fucking suffered, motherfucker.
Well,
okay, fuck you.
Okay.
Okay,
there
I
we
lost
go.
everything. I fucking lost everything, motherfucker. Okay,
Well,
my salon, fuck
Not enough.
you.
well,
I
then
went to
let's.
the feds. Fuck you. Let me talk.
Oh, okay.
I went
Let's
to the
unite.
feds. I got my
Yeah, let's
shit.
unite.
I got my shit, you motherfucker, back from those feds. They tortured me. They took my business. I lost everybody, all my clients. I got sick in a fucking airplane and they dropped me off in Oklahoma. Fuck you if you think I'm a fucking paid actor. Okay? And I'm never getting on these spaces again. Fuck you. All right? I'm going to show you my docket and how I suffered. I had chains on my legs for fucking 2 months. You're wrong, motherfucker. You're wrong.
Oh my god, you were in custody for 2 months after trying to overthrow a democratic election? Holy shit. What an ordeal.
Okay? That's all I'm going to say. I'm so
Oh, well, you convinced me. I'm totally convinced now, Gina. I'm going
You're
to do a
such an
complete
evil
180 on
motherfucker.
this.
I suffered. I lost my business. I lost my family. Okay? I lost my money from grifting attorneys. Fuck you, you fucking Jew. Okay?
And you deserve a reality TV show.
I'm sorry, did she just say, something that would be overt? Hold on.
My money from grifting attorneys. Fuck you, you fucking Jew. Okay?
Okay, overt anti-Semitism on the bingo card? Whoa, what do you know? A January 6er is overtly anti-Semitic. I'm shocked.
And you deserve a reality TV show. We're all for you, Gina.
Fuck
Go
you,
get
you
'em.
fucking evil motherfucker.
Yeah.
Just like you do to Trennis. He's not a fucking
Oh, I know.
psyop. None of us are.
Trennis
Fuck
is
you,
one of
you
the
fucking
Psyop on the bingo card, too.
motherfucking
wonderful people.
left-wing
Yeah,
motherfucker.
Trent Evans.
I am never going to be on there. You're fucking disrespectful. I'm political prisoner. You want my fucking number?
Yeah, I know.
Want to look it up, you motherfucker? You think you know it all? You don't.
Yeah.
You psyop. This one's a psyop. No, I suffered. You think Mike Flynn? You think I'm a psyop? Okay? You think Jake Lang's a psyop? No, he served 4 years in prison. So fuck you.
Yeah, let's make them a
How dare there be negative consequences for my illegal actions? Not even as many as there should have been.
sheriff now. Is that what we're supposed to unite and get behind Jake Lang and vote him into office?
Gina, I think the thing is, Gina, that we're trying to warn you of the company that you keep. Okay. Morgan.
Yeah, wow.
Well, that's something. Loud minority on the bingo. True. Let's take a look at the bingo card real quick. Flat Earth. Recording in car. Doesn't understand how cameras work. Let's say incorrectly believes evidence is self-evident for Chris's whole spiel about, like, once you go flat, you can never go back. Oh, Fennikagami. Sorry, I missed your bits. Said, conspiracy theorists being more willing to be part of conspiracies remind me of the claim that corrupt people can't handle working with honest and good actors. It gives them anxiety because they can't understand or comprehend a person who can't be bought. They would actually rather work with a spy or known agent of their enemy because that's at least a person they understand. What else? Loud minority thinks they're a silent majority. PSYOP. Conspiracy theorist tells on themselves. Where's overt anti-Semitism? Would the sky is fake count as CC yelling about space? No. False flag? I would say no, because we already covered it with PSYOP. Where is overt? Why am I having so much trouble finding overt? Did not get predictive programming yet. Even the stadium bit? I guess. You're right. He was talking about whatever. Sky is fake and overt. Once I can find it, where the fuck is it? Someone give me a number. There it is, 77. All right. I think that catches us up. Ryan Sip says, long-time viewer, first-time Twitcher. Thanks for the streams. Well, thank you so much for viewing, and thanks for the bits. Couldn't do this without support from viewers like you, so I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, here's another Trump supporter. Let's check out this one.
So
after that, we'll get into the vampires and stuff.
just like that, the mention of Epstein files is done. Why, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked, because of the whole Ukraine thing and Zelensky and Trump arguing with each other, and basically Trump giving the boot to Zelensky saying, fuck you, I'm not paying you any more money because you don't need it. Now, here's my theory on it. Everybody knows what March 4th is. Obviously, that's coming up in the next couple of days.
That's today, by the way. Today is March 4th.
That's the true day of when things are supposed to happen. From the first president to the 33rd president, look into it on what day they did the inauguration. Now, here's my theory on it.
They changed the date of the inauguration. I don't know if people know this. It used to be later. It used to be like March 4th, historically, and then at some point they changed it to January. I don't remember the reason why. It may have been because back in the day, it took a lot more time to communicate and travel, so it just made sense to give more preparation to get your cabinet together and stuff. But either way, it used to be a different day that we did the inauguration than we do now.
Obviously, with the dividends and all that, which a lot of you apparently don't understand what dividend means. It means it's a payment over time. You're not just getting one stimmy check, you're getting Doge dividends. You're getting payments over time. Now, the reason why this can't happen at this moment in time is because we're currently still stuck in the corporation. Hence why on January 20th, Donald Trump didn't put his hand on the Bible, because that's not the true day of the inauguration.
There have been conspiracy theories about that. I don't know if people saw, but he didn't, like, put it on the Bible. Doesn't really matter, but they seem to care because they're conspiracy theorists, and many of them are quite religious, so they took some issue with that.
The actual day of the inauguration is March 4th, so we cannot go with the debt-free and all of that shit until after March 4th, when Donald Trump is truly going to swear in. Or is it actually Donald Trump that's going to swear in on March 4th?
This actually reminds me, tomorrow I have a really, really interesting documentary for us to watch called Waiting for Nisara from 2005. It is full of just super interesting conversations with some conspiracy theorists. So make sure you tune in tomorrow, because that's going to be really interesting. I already watched it, but I want to share it with you guys and just talk about it, because it predates this QAnon stuff, but a lot of the Nisara stuff wound up in QAnon. So would recommend you check out tomorrow.
Now, a long time ago, I remember seeing the Q drop and quite a few things that explained the dead man switch. There's going to be a dead man switch coming at some point. That has to happen as well.
H-Baird says, if Cassidy Hutchinson's is to be believed, Trump has been swearing constantly for most of his life.
Well, the breakdown of what happened between Zelensky and Trump is because Trump, the character, actor, Hollywood Boulevard, has a star of Donald Trump on the boardwalk. Donald Trump, the character, has to be removed. And how are you going to be able to remove Donald Trump? Well, July 13th didn't work, now did it. So you have to piss off a leader of a country that has our military equipment in order to remove the sitting president of the United States. So by Trump doing what he did, he pissed off Zelensky. Zelensky's now going to use our military equipment against us, and he's going to take out the character Donald Trump, which is...
So she is of the opinion that President Zelensky is going to assassinate Trump? No, that's not how any of this works. You on the bingo card? Yeah. Yep.
Is a good move. And then in the mix of that, in between all of that, the dead man switch is going to happen, because everybody who has an open mind, who opened their third eye and is critically thinking and free thinking, already knows that everybody you're seeing is just a character. Now, if you hear any names that
we're all watching a movie on the bingo card
are brought up of people that are coming into the cabinet, know that you need to look into their background, because J.D. Vance, the original 1.0, is actually, or was actually evil. Donald Trump doesn't hide his enemies, he puts them in the spotlight. So all these people that are listed, that are in these positions, are actually evil. And to everybody's surprise, even the original Donald Trump was.
So she's a Trump supporter, but Trump is evil. Okay. Interesting. No, Spokane Dog Man, she wasn't making a threat.
But Donald Trump was a big name, like many others that we're seeing on TV still that are still going. They're big names, which does what? Brings a lot of influence in. A big name is a loud voice. Are you understanding?
Accidentally based for saying Trump is evil? Sure. Fine.
Standing yet? So eventually, down this fuckery of shit that's going on that everybody's patiently waiting for, it's going to come to an end. Because Trump said, I'll speak it that way, Trump said Easter timeline. Easter this year is on April 20th. Explain to me how that works when last year it was in March and we had a leap year that year, which only added one day to the year. And how did it jump from March 28th to April 20th within a year? That shit don't...
I don't know how we decide when Easter is. You could probably Google that, though, if you want to know.
Make any sense. Easter jumps around all the time. It's
word salad? No, I don't think this is word salad yet.
so weird how that shit happens. But anywho, with that being said, the dead man switch has to come in. The true inauguration has to happen. We have to go from the corporation to the republic, which will not happen until after March 4th. Once March 4th happens, we will go from the corporation to the republic, which means that any debt that you have with the corporation, any federal banking system, anything to do with the banking system at all, central banking, it doesn't matter, they cannot legally, by the Constitution, take your debt from the corporation to the republic.
Yeah, this is very sovereign citizen-y, too. A lot of this is like sovereign citizen language with the banking stuff.
Therein lies your debt staying with the corporation. After March 4th, we switch to the republic, which means your debt is no longer there. Then we're going to go to the free energy, free utilities, and then everything's going to go back to the 1950s pricing.
Yeah, this is like Nasara stuff. Oh, God. People who don't understand economics trying to manufacture a bill that they think would save everything. H-Bird says, Easter is the first Sunday after the first full moon on or after the vernal equinox as determined by an ancient Roman celestial model. Ooh. Bittergrin with 100 bits says, Easter is the first Sunday after the first full moon, after the first day of the spring, specifically March 21st. For calculation purposes, it can fall anywhere from March 23rd to April 25th. Well, thank you for the answer.
But until then, even then after, at some point, Donald Trump is going to be removed by pissing off Zelensky. He is putting the chess move into place in order for everything to happen. The Pope has to die. There's a bunch of shit that still has to happen, but it's all strategically planned. So remember, if Donald Trump is removed from the picture, please don't freak out. It's all a part of the script. It's all a part of the movie. The movie is coming to an end. It could be before April 20th. It could be after. We don't know. But just know that the dividends are coming. Your debt is being wiped. You're going to have a year to be able to do whatever it is that you want to do, to fixing your house, to getting a new rig, to be able to afford property anywhere else. It doesn't matter. Because it is no longer owned by the federal government. It is going to be open to us, the United States citizens. But however, we are actually United States sovereign beings is what we are. Citizen means slave. So, your dreams are going to come true. I suggest that you just take your
Why did the Pope get mixed into this? A lot of conspiracy theorists and sovereign citizens believe that ultimately the Vatican is in charge of everything. Like, that's not a majority necessarily, but a plurality of conspiracists believe that the Vatican is involved in some way.
mind off of this stuff and start planning what it is that you
Wow, she's a loon. A loon on my Tinfoil Tuesday? Never.
want to do, the animals that you want to have, the places that you want to live. Dead man switch is coming. The end of the corporation is going to die. The Republic is going to come in, and we'll be good to go. So, we end the video with that. Just sit back and relax. And enjoy how these credits are going to roll.
She seems very relaxed. Alded Undying says, hey Hannah, have you seen this meme I made? I'm putting out the energy I want in the world. Trump Tower, Canada is a dump. Doug Fort to revoke American copyright laws to name all Ontario dumps. Oh boy. Alright, let's get into some of the other stuff. Look, here's the vampire video. We're doing it.
If vampires were to indeed exist, then life on this planet would probably be exactly the way it is now.
I don't know if I agree with that statement. I don't know if that's true.
The reason it works is because we all know that this creature is a creature of the night. It is a creature that lives in secrecy. It is a creature that hides in plain sight. Because of the nature of this being, we know that it would probably live in the shadows at all times, and very few people would know of their reality. So the public would always think of vampires as fantasy.
Okay, but like they are? There's no physical evidence of vampires? So like, doesn't that maybe put a little bit of a kibosh on your theory here?
Because the public would be fed nothing but stories, legends, while the truth would be much stranger.
Vampires in chat, rise up. If there are any vampires in chat, you need to come and find me and vampirize me immediately. I'm getting older by the day. If a creature of the night doesn't come and preserve me in an undead form, I don't even want to know what I'm going to look like in my 40s.
When you hear the word vampire, what comes to mind? Maybe Dracula, the seductive immortal of the night? Or the modern versions, sleek, mysterious, lurking in the shadows? If you look closely, the legends go back thousands of years, not just a few hundred years. Long before Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Bram Stoker. Green guy with the $3 tip says, Hannah, vampires are real. They're called billionaires and they suck wages from workers. That's metaphorical!
Before medieval legends, even before recorded history, you have ancient civilizations that spoke of creatures that drink blood.
How would you know if it's before recorded history? How would you know? How can you make claims about what you're saying is before recorded history if there's no history recorded for which to reference to talk about the time before recorded history?
Stole life and refused to stay dead. You know, even if vampires did exist, what do we have to be afraid of?
Probably the blood-sucking, mostly.
Or vampires.
Because he was a vampire and was the heir, that's the ultimate twist.
We're human. Now who's afraid of who?
What is this intro? I think that giant has too many muscles. I don't think you're supposed to have that many muscles, even as a giant. Too muscular. I don't like it.
You know, it's amazing to me that I have seen regular people do things monsters wouldn't do. Even Godzilla has his boundaries.
Okay, let's not set up Godzilla like he's this bad fucking guy. Most of the time, Godzilla's perfectly fine. He's often a protector of children. I'm not gonna sit here and listen to Godzilla slander. Sure, the original Gojira and Gojira 1985 and Shin Godzilla and Godzilla -1, they just indiscriminately murder people. But there's a lot of Godzilla iterations where he's a perfectly fine guy. Putting it out there. Amber says that Zelensky stuff happened because you idiots elected a moronic, self-centered wannabe crime lord to the most powerful office in the history of human civilization. Nice country you got. Real shame if something happened. We have no patience left. Yeah, I'm pretty over shit too.
Remember Godzilla?
I'm thinking of Gamera. No, I'm not! Gamera is the protector of children, but as Gamera got popular, the Godzilla franchise also started doing the whole protector of the children thing. That's why you got really bad Godzilla movies, like the one where the kid gets kidnapped and he basically has a mental fantasy about Godzilla's son, Minya, on fucking Monster Island. Don't come at me like I don't know Godzilla things! Don't do it! It won't work, I promise!
It was created as a fictional reincarnation of those bombs that were dropped in Japan. But let me not digress.
Green guy with the dollar tip says, Hannah, there are plenty of people. It is okay. Give them a break. How many bugs have you killed?
Too
Not
much
enough.
off topic, which is vampire.
And I claim to not be a weeb. I'm not a weeb. I'm not obsessed with Japanese culture or pop culture. I like Godzilla. I like karate films. That's about it. Oh, tokusatsu, too. But, like, I'm not obsessed with it. I just like it. Like, I wouldn't want to go to Japan.
The Sumerians, the Akkadians, the Babylonians all spoke of terrifying creatures that share similarities with later vampire myths. One of the earliest is Lilitu, or Lilith, a female demon who wandered the night preying on infants and seducing men.
That's like from Abrahamic religions. That's in like the fucking Apocrypha. I'm gonna take this off for a little bit. Constricting my head and hurting me. So I'm gonna take it off for like 20-30 minutes. God damn, my new conditioner's been so good. Holy fuck. I haven't even showered yet today. Look at my gorgeous hair! You just adopted a puppy and named her Lilith? That's cute. Altered Undying says, have none of you, Philistines not seen Final Wars? Have any of you Philistines not seen Final Wars? Double negative.
Draining them of their strength. Sound familiar? The Babylonians also feared Lamashtu, a monstrous blood-drinking entity with the
Predates the Apocrypha. There's evidence she was a pagan goddess. Gotcha. Thanks.
head of a lioness. She was believed to attack pregnant women and steal newborns. And within their ancient texts are descriptions of rituals to ward off these entities. So even back then, there was a fear of these types of beings.
Okay, people had a fear of all sorts of things that aren't real. That happens all the time these days, too. How many people are afraid of their, like, sleep paralysis demons? Or actual demons? Or aliens abducting them? People believe things that aren't true all the time.
In Egypt, there was the goddess Sekhmet, the lion-headed warrior deity. She was known for having a bloodlust. In a myth, she nearly wiped out humanity. The gods had to trick her by pouring red-dyed beer across the land, making her believe it was blood. She drank until she passed out, saving humanity. There's your Queen of the Damned influence. There Also exist Egyptian religious texts that mention the undead, spirits that could steal the life force of the living, tomb inscriptions with spells to protect the deceased from malevolent entities. The Greeks had their own version of blood-drinking creatures. One of the most infamous was Empusa. Empusa would appear as a beautiful woman, seduce men in their sleep, then drain them of their blood and life essence. And throughout all these cultures, there is a recurring theme.
Did Anne Rice ever say Queen of the Damned was inspired by Sekhmet? I have no idea.
Then there's
He's doing a lot of syncretism.
Lamia.
Seems like the whole thing is just look at all these mythological things that sort of fit into different aspects of the vampire myth. Ergo, vampires are real. Nonsense. It's not how anything works. You can find recurring themes in all sorts of folklore all around the world. It doesn't mean that folklore is, like, literally true.
A tragic yet horrifying
Can
figure.
we get a cart horse fallacy syncretism space for that red bear Akasha thing? I would like to put that on the next bingo card.
She was originally a beautiful queen cursed by Hera to become a monstrous being.
Because I don't think
that fed on
syncretism
children.
is on the card currently.
Over time, her story morphed into one of a child-snatching vampire-like entity. The Romans weren't safe either. They feared the Strix, a night-flying creature that drank the blood of infants once again.
If I was a Roman, I'd fear being crucified, probably. That's a thing that actually happened.
There's that narrative. This myth carried over into medieval times.
We seem to get a lot
And
of
we ended up-
syncretism. It's the foundation of a ton of conspiracies. It would basically be a free space. It's rare we don't come across it at least once or twice in a stream.
Up with more vampire folklore as a result. In ancient Indian texts, the Vatala were undead spirits that inhabited corpses, bringing them back to life and feeding on the living. The Baital Paichisi, a ancient Sanskrit collection of stories, describes these beings lurking in graveyards, waiting for their next victim.
Have I noticed he's only gone over feminine mythological beings? I suppose that's true. He has shown pictures of more masculine, like the Nosferatu, but he has pretty much only covered feminine stuff so far.
And then we have the Rakshasas, demonic creatures with a taste for human flesh and blood. And
Once you start adding flesh, it's not a... I think once you go beyond blood and start doing flesh, it's not a vampire anymore, in my view. Again, that's more a ghoul. You're a ghoul. There's so much disrespect for ghouls. Saint Sanguine says if you were a Roman, you'd have a right to be thrown off a cliff instead of crucifixion. Oh, okay. Well, at least I have options. That's pretty good.
in Hindu mythology, some of these beings were powerful warriors who would shapeshift and hypnotize their prey. Unlike the Western vampire, these entities weren't confined to the night. They could strike at any time. Even the Bible has references to vampiric entities. In the book of Proverbs,
If the Bible says it, it must be true. Ancient wisdom on the bingo card. Bittergrin says he's only covering Indo-European sources that descend from the same original oral traditions. Yeah, that's convenient for him, I'd imagine.
there is the mention of the Aluka, a mysterious being whose name translates to leech or bloodsucker. Later, Jewish texts describe Aluka as a demonic vampire-like creature that drains its victims until nothing is left. Then, of course, we return to Lilith. In the alphabet of Ben Sira, Lilith is described as the first wife of Adam,
Yeah, I'll take that into consideration, depraved ambiance, when I put it on the bingo card.
who refused to submit and was cursed to roam the night feeding on infants and seducing men. There's that theme again. This is Jewish folklore, by the way. Over time,
Okay.
Lilith's legend blended with European vampire myths, influencing how we imagine female vampires today.
Is that even true?
Eastern Europe, the birthplace of the classic vampire, Slavic vampire.
Like, it just feels like that's quite a claim to say that, like, iterations of female vampires were inspired by Lilith without any sort of citation. It's quite a leap. I'm not even saying that's impossible. I'm just saying I would love a citation for that claim.
Myths came around much later. The Upir, the Nosferatu. These were names given to creatures that rose from their graves, feeding on the living. Some of these beliefs were so strong that people actually dug up corpses and drove stakes through their hearts to prevent them from returning. So, as we've seen, the idea of vampires didn't start here. It's been with us for thousands of years, evolving with each civilization.
I mean, yeah, that's true of most ideas. Everything's derivative of something.
Mesopotamian demons, Egyptian bloodthirsty goddesses, Greek seductresses, biblical monsters. The fear of beings that drink blood and steal life is deeply ingrained in our history. Now, here is something interesting. Jacques de Saint-Germain, or the Count de Saint-Germain. This was a guy who was rumored to have known some of the key figures.
Sorry, I'm trying to think Saint Germain things, because I feel like he shows up in a lot of conspiracies. Saint Germain. Why? What is Saint Germain the patron saint of?
Involved in the drafting of the Declaration of Independence. You know, Jefferson, Adams, Franklin, those guys. From that, we are assuming that he was influential in that drafting process. Saint Germain was known for moving in elite European circles during the 18th century. And some of the founding fathers of the United States were part of these same circles. Some might call them secret societies, particularly those with interest in enlightenment, philosophy, mysticism, freedom, right? So the legend says
Germain is an Enlightenment age boogeyman? Can you explain? Wikipedia article someone posted. The Count of Saint Germain, whose real name and origin remain unknown, was a European adventurer who had interest and achievements in science, alchemy, philosophy, and the arts. He rose to prominence in European high society of the mid-18th century due to his works and interests. He associated himself with some of the top contemporary figures, including Casanova, Voltaire, and Mozart. The Count used a variety of names and titles, including the Marquis of Montfrere, Count Bellemare, Knight Schoning, Count Weldon, but there's a list. He's said to have made far-fetched claims, such as being 500 years old, leading Voltaire to dub him the Wonder Man, and that he's a man who does not die and knows everything. Charles, the Prince of Hesse Castle, is recorded as having called him one of the greatest philosophers to ever live. The Aleister Crowley of his day? Okay, I see. He's wrong about the etymology of Nosferatu. That's something F.W. Murnau mistranslated from Romanian when he made the OG Nosferatu. I was wondering about that when he brought that up. But I wasn't sure. Anyway.
that in the early 1900s, a man named Jacques de Saint-Germain arrived in New Orleans and settled in a very lavish home on Royal Street, which is still there. He was described as a very charming and wealthy man and similar in appearance to Count Saint-Germain, who was supposedly the one who lived in the 1700s, a couple hundred years earlier, right? Now, they say Jacques was known for hosting extravagant parties with expensive wine, but never drink a sip himself.
He never drinks wine.
Instead, he would pour glasses for guests while only pretending to drink. At some point, the story claims that
That's literally a scene right out of Dracula, by the way, which is why he's, I think, pointing it out. That's a scene from Dracula.
a woman escaped from his house, bleeding from her neck. She ran to the police, claiming that Jacques had tried to bite her. When authorities investigated his house, they found no food.
Sorry, I missed a tip. Green guy with a $1 tip said, Hannah, why are these demons so sexy? Someone should write a book. I bet it would sell.
Only wine bottles filled with human blood. Before police could arrest him, Jacques de Saint-Germain vanished, leaving all his belongings behind. No one ever saw him again. And when you think about that story, you think Lestat from Interview with a Vampire. So Count Saint-Germain was the real person. Jacques de Saint-Germain was the vampire legend with no documents or police records, suspected of being the same person.
No documents or police records would not be crazy for this time period. We don't have records for most people of this time period. The idea that we still have, like, up-to-date records, no, we don't.
Because the historical...
Like, of famous people and some, sure. Generally,
Count Saint-Germain was rumored to never age.
Being rich would help, records-wise.
And claimed to have lived for centuries. He was deeply...
Look, I'll make that claim, too. I'm 500 years old. Woo! We did it.
Involved in alchemy, mysticism, secret societies, like I mentioned before. Rumors that he had discovered the secret to immortality. So some believe that Jacques was actually the same man, now living under a new identity. There are no official records of Jacques de Saint-Germain in New Orleans. The story blends historical fact with vampire folklore. The house on Royal Street it still stands and is a hotspot for paranormal enthusiasts. But
Depraved Ambiance says, I can't believe how many people can't tell the difference between claims and evidence. It's simple. If I agree with what the person is saying, it's evidence. If I don't, it's a claim. We did it. We solved everything.
You would have to actually request property records to find out who actually owned that house. And if I were a vampire, I very much doubt that I would be using a name that could be connected to me.
You know it's serious because he kicked in the dramatic music as he said that.
The fact that this legend exists at all is strange. I do think something went down in New Orleans, and I believe there was some person who became the talk amongst several people. And so we end up with these stories. Now, with all that said, are vampires real? I think to answer that, we really need to define what a vampire is.
Oh, go fuck yourself. What are you, Jordan Peterson? First, you need to explain what you mean by what. The word vampire. The word is. It's all stuck in the metaphysical substrate.
Nearly every culture has told stories of creatures that drink blood, stalk the night, and never seem to die. Science, history, and even modern medical conditions suggest that the idea of vampires might not be as far-fetched as we think.
Bittergrin says, I believe he's wrong. Checkmate. We did it.
For one, There are real diseases that mimic the traits of vampires.
What? That's your fucking evidence? Oh, bro, check out this guy's hemophilia. Oh, fuck, I bet it's a vampire.
There's a rare disorder that can cause extreme sensitivity to sunlight, leading people to avoid daylight entirely. Some forms of the disease can even cause severe gum recession, making the teeth appear unnaturally long, almost like fangs. Then there's rabies, which can cause
We're skipping to a completely different disease now?
extreme aggression, biting tendencies, an aversion to light and strong smells like garlic.
Strong smells like garlic. Wow, that's a stretch. That's a stretch.
If someone in the past had these symptoms, especially before modern medicine, it's easy to see how they could be mistaken for something else, something supernatural.
Right, but your thesis is that vampires are real. The argument you're making right now is that vampires are not real, and in fact, people had diseases. Doesn't even know what he's arguing.
Which was not an uncommon thing to do before the understanding of many disorders or diseases. And then there's history, the 18th century vampire hysteria that swept through Europe, with people exhuming corpses, staking bodies through the heart, burning remains, believing the dead were rising from their graves. Strangely enough, some of those corpses showed signs of unexplainable preservation, bodies that hadn't decayed like they were supposed to, with fresh blood still in their veins. Some historians suggest this could be due to natural mummification or even undiagnosed diseases, but
I've decided I don't care about expert opinion. I want to make a YouTube video where I claim vampires are real.
Also
Give me that sweet, sweet AdSense money, baby.
superstitious. It's the proof to them that these were vampires that walked among them. But what if vampires weren't just diseased humans? What if they were something else entirely? Ancient civilizations, the Mesopotamians, the Chinese, wrote about beings that fed on human life force, whether through blood or energy. Some paranormal researchers believe that whatever these entities were, they may still exist today.
Ah, to be a vampire in the Fertile Crescent.
Hiding among us in society, feeding in ways we can't even comprehend. I'm assuming anyone coming in contact with one of these beings doesn't live to talk about it. And so we're left with nothing but...
If I was a vampire in the Fertile Crescent as civilization was developing, I'd be so happy that my primary prey was developing basically walled-in areas where there's just a ton of my food source. That's so awesome. You don't have to stalk the woods hoping to come across hunting parties. You just go to fucking Mesopotamia, and you go, oh, it's an all-you-can-drink buffet. It's beautiful.
Stories and not much testimony. But there are communities of self-identified vampires who claim they need human or animal blood to maintain their health. Some even insist they have heightened senses, longer lifespans, or abilities beyond human limits. Is it just psychological, or is there something ancient, something predatory, still lurking beneath the surface of our world? So are vampires real?
No.
Science, history, and legends all leave us with more questions than answers.
No, they don't. The answer is no. The folklore exists. There's reasons for the folklore that you can get to the bottom of, but vampires are not real. No. No. No.
But one thing is certain, something inspired these stories. I'm sure the truth is far more terrifying than all the fiction.
Not really. Fuck me. Okay, I need to pee real quick. You put a lot of waste into my body. I need to get some of it out. While I'm using the bathroom real quick, Chair will tell you about Primer. Primer is a great movie. Using, though. Let's see what's next. The zombie video, probably.
Alright guys, so earlier this year, CIDRAP, or the Centers for Infectious Disease Research and Policy, came out with a plan to deal with what they're calling the day after, which is supposed to be the day after the first human case of CWD is confirmed and how to deal with, the situation. And when you read into this, it
Uses AI on the bingo card for him using the AI overview thing.
sounds like they're outlining like
Did we already have uses AI? I don't think so. We do now, though.
the zombie apocalypse, right? And when you hear something like the day after, that's what it literally sounds like. It sounds like a science fiction horror movie, like 28 Days Later, which I believe they're actually coming out with a newer version of that movie.
28 Years Later is coming out. So this is someone that I found a while back. I don't think we've watched them on stream before. This is a person who seems to be obsessed with the idea of a zombie apocalypse. Like, he literally just makes videos all about news and things he thinks is pointing to a zombie apocalypse. Like, he is obsessed with the idea of a zombie apocalypse along the lines of, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead.
Dawn of the Living Dead, World War Z, they're giving off this zombie apocalypse vibe with all this information. And given the amount of predictive programming with zombies, even during COVID, with
Predictive programming on the bingo card.
shows like iZombie and Walking Dead and stuff like that, it's like,
So because zombies exist in media, in particular media that started like over a decade ago, Walking Dead and iZombie both started like 10 years ago now. I don't even know if iZombie's still on the air. That's why he thinks zombies are real?
they've been slowly
Popular media is evil? No, it would be predictive programming specifically.
painting this narrative in people's minds that there's going to be this outbreak that shuts down society and it's going to turn into hell on earth, and the government's going to have to intervene, and we're going to have to find a cure for this disease. And like, it's all a lead up. I told you in my last video, with the introduction of AI, there's going to have to be some kind of scare, because they want this inside our bodies. They want us to take Neuralink. They want us to take some other biometric device to part.
Tracking microchips on the bingo card, giving these vibes. Red Lake shootings. Red Lake shootings was a spree killing that occurred on March 21st, 2005 at 2 locations in the United States. That afternoon at 2 p.m., 16-year-old Jeff Weiss killed his grandfather and his grandfather's girlfriend at their lakeside home after taking his grandfather's police weapon and bulletproof vest. Weiss drove to his grandfather's police vehicle to Red Lake Senior High School, where he had been a student some months before. Why this specifically? Bittergrin says, a zombie apocalypse sounds nice. Zombies don't have to pay rent and they shamble around in hordes. They must have a lot of friends. I have too much social anxiety. I can't be in a horde. It would give me too much. I'll have to be one of those solo zombies where, like, you're exploring an empty building, scavenging for supplies, and you think it's empty, but then I do a jump scare and you stab me in the brain. I'm that zombie. I'm not cut out for the horde.
Participate in the coming world government.
Oh, he thought the zombie apocalypse was happening. Okay, I didn't get to that part. Genius me. Control F, zombie. Why is it zombie coming up? Oh, that's the Saint Germain page. Well, never mind.
And in order to accomplish this, not only do they have to have their hero figures like Elon Musk and Trump, they have to have something that scares people so bad that a lot of people fall for this shit. They go along with it because they want to live. I mean, you look at how Elon Musk has talked about his Neuralink technology. He's saying it has the capability to potentially cure people with brain problems. Like,
okay, well, your first mistake was trusting anything that came out of that con man's mouth. Elon Musk is a huckster. He lies constantly, so don't worry about it. Ashley One Up says, why is that one zombie making noises at that camera? It's not even turned on.
Dementia and CJD and stuff. So, you know.
Brains. Ashley One Up says, why is... Oh, I just read that, sorry. There was a tip, though. Green Guy with a $3 tip says, Hannah, me and the wife watched Milo Rossi cover conspiracy theories, and his idea is that true PSYOP is all conspiracy theories are there to distract us from how few people under capitalism are stealing all your work and money. It's a distraction. Nope, that'd be a conspiracy theory, too. People are just like this. People are just like this. I promise you, conspiracy theories are older than any sort of corporate conglomerate or political entity. This is just how human brains work, unfortunately.
Make the connection. You have these vaccines being distributed. We haven't seen the huge die-off like they talk about in the Deagle report or the Georgia Guidestones or Agenda 2030, but it's coming. They've planned this out. This is something that they banked on taking place within a decade or more. And of course, now that Trump's back in office, I fully expect that sometime during his presidency, we're going to see all this shit manifest itself. Right now, they're just buttering people up with all the things that he's given the American people. Again, it's like a patriot's wet dream right now. But eventually,
Sorry, I missed that. Janerdy said, this was when we were on the vampires still, said not for any real reason, wanted to share my favorite description of a vampire ever from Warhammer, quote, no one knows why Conrad was turned. In life, he was a bloodthirsty maniac. Now he's an immortal bloodthirsty maniac. That's pretty good. Lance is trying to love herself with 19 months, says, team existing out of spite clocking in. Love you and all. Remember, it's harder to take care of others if you don't take care of yourself. Like they say on a plane, put on your own mask before helping your neighbor. Very true.
Gonna come the...
Are people still going on about the Guidestones? Yeah. They got destroyed. You'd think they'd stop giving a shit.
The trade-off, right? We did all this for you, so cooperate with us so we can cure this problem. And by the way, all these tech bros I got on my side, they wanna help the world by coming up with a cure for this issue. And the only way to cure it is going to be, merging with AI. It is a complete setup. Anyways. this is from Google. I'm just going to read a brief summary of this, and then I'm going to go to SIDRAP and actually read it from their website as well. Let's go ahead and get into this. The day after CWD refers to the potential scenario where chronic wasting disease, or CWD, begins to significantly impact human populations, meaning a widespread outbreak of the disease in humans following its current prevalence primarily in deer and other cervids, potentially causing major disruptions to the food supply. By the way, look what they're doing with H1N1, right? They're claiming that this boogeyman flu is the reason why the price of eggs is going up, right?
People really don't like to recognize that, like, sometimes bad shit just happens and you have to deal with it. I've seen so many conspiracy theorists who just cannot believe that there's a disease going through livestock. Not even an uncommon thing, but they're just like, it's gotta be part of a plan. They're trying to take our eggs. Like, no, motherfuckers! They're trying to keep you from getting diseases from the eggs! Also, can I put this out there? How many eggs are people fucking eating? Because I've eaten about, like in terms of actual buying eggs from the store, I think I've bought 24 eggs in the last 3 years. But egg prices being as big of a deal as people are acting like they are, I'm confused. Are people eating eggs, like, every fucking day? Like, is that good for you to eat that many goddamn eggs? Like, I like eggs, but what the fuck are you people doing? Fucking ovivore weirdos. Lance says, but livestock is nature, and nature is perfect, and nothing ever goes wrong with it. Because when I think a bunch of chickens being held with right next to each other in little cages with their beaks cut off, I think nature. Bittergrin says, I had one with breakfast every day. God damn, people like their fucking eggs.
Biden administration, they slaughtered all these chickens because they claimed that, you know, it had the potential to spread to humans, and they're trying to curb this and protect the other chickens and whatnot. And of course, when you slaughter millions of chickens, you know, less eggs get produced. And chickens aren't the only livestock that they've been affecting. It's been going on for a while. I mean, remember all the silos that were mysteriously burning down, and cows that were belly up because they claimed there was a heat wave and stuff like that. They
claimed there was a heat wave. Look at the weather! You can look!
Really attacking the food supply to create, you know, a food crisis. And if this CWD were to spread into livestock...
This is going to get so much worse, too, because as climate change worsens and we see, like, more widespread famine and, like, issues regarding livestock and, you know, anything, crops, whatever, people, well, I mean, enough people will just accept, like, oh yeah, we knew this was going to happen. But, like, at least 40 to 50% of people are going to be like, no, it's not climate change, even though everyone warned us for decades and decades and decades, and we refused it and called it a conspiracy by scientists, those evil scientists. Oh, it's gonna be so bad. The rest of life is gonna be so exhausting.
You know, of course, they're gonna say that you have to get rid of all the meat because, you know, this is a potential vector for which people can get infected. And people will probably fall for it, especially if they see the vaxxed, you know, wigging out, you know, because they have CJD from whatever it is that they put in the jabs, right?
Oh, he's an anti-vaxxer too. Lovely.
Continuing on, of course, the economy is mentioned, which is Trump and Elon are big on the economy right now. And wildlife management practices due to the highly contagious...
Alex says, Hannah, do you know how many recipes call for eggs? You kind of need them for cookies and bread, all sorts of things. Are you guys cooking bread and cookies every week? Are you guys just fucking baking constantly? I understand that egg is used in recipes. I am saying I'm confused by how much baking you're all doing. Like, whether you're eating them or directly putting them in something, you're just using a lot of eggs.
And fatal nature of this disease. Key points about the day after CWD. Currently, no confirmed cases of...
Mayo Emery's of Caldera with a $5 tip says the major impact won't be in consuming eggs themselves, but in the hundreds of products that use eggs as ingredients, mostly baked goods. And that's fine to bring up. I understand that. It's the fact that people are literally freaking about buying a dozen eggs. Trey says, I used to eat 60 a week? Are you okay? Lance of the 100 Bits says, looks around, leans into microphone, veganism wins.
CWD in humans exists, but scientists worry about the possibility of spillover where the disease jumps from infected deer to humans, potentially through the consumption of contaminated meat. If CWD were to spread to humans, it could lead to significant health concerns, economic repercussions due to restrictions on hunting and meat consumption, and disruptions to wildlife management strategies. The day after CWD would necessitate a coordinated response from public health officials.
You were losing your mind at the time and had access to many chickens. Did the eggs fix your brain?
Wildlife agencies and agricultural authorities to monitor disease spread, implement containment measures, and educate the public on prevention strategies. A lot of this sounds eerily similar to Conplan 8888. If you guys aren't...
I will say, once the cheese market gets hit, I'll be struggling, and then the egg people make fun of me.
Familiar with that, go to Strategic Command's website and download the PDF. It plays itself off like it's a joke, but in it is like a detailed strategy to deal with a zombie outbreak situation. And of course, for those of you who have been in the truth movement for a while, you know that Trump is obsessed with the number 88, right? Let's go ahead and go to SIDRAP now. SIDRAP report highlights gaps, offers guidance for possible CWD spillover into people and other species. The Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy.
How big is that stockpile of cheese in America? I understand there's a lot. That's true. They do have all that cheese. They should release it strategically into my mouth. Mentions cheese on the bingo card. God damn it. Generity with 60 bits says, your thing about not listening to scientists reminds me of a UK anesthesiologist doing a video during the Big C about why face masks are safe, and I had two thoughts. One, great he did that, but also two, he definitely has better shit to be doing than explaining face masks are safe. Yeah, you'd think. Fortunately, there are some really gullible idiots in society.
SIDRAP at the University of...
As you get older, cheese tastes worse. I pray that I don't suffer the same fate.
Minnesota today published a comprehensive state-of-the-art report aimed at improving surveillance, research, and response to a
military gadgets are transforming people's conditions and...
Sorry, the ads. I should point out, Google Chrome finally removed my ad blocker. So, yeah, we're gonna see ads sometimes now because Google Chrome decided ad blockers aren't okay because they fucking suck.
Endurance.
We won't see them on YouTube because I have YouTube
when
Premium.
You breathe in more oxygen, and this military gadget makes it
potential chronic waste.
I can't go to Firefox. I can't do it. I can't.
Disease spillover from cervids, such as deer, to people or farm animals. The report, Chronic Wasting Disease Spillover, Preparedness and Response, Charting an Uncertain Future, identifies gaps in spillover preparedness and offers recommendations to support public and animal health agencies.
You can at least for now re-enable uBlock. I'll deal with it later.
To recognize and respond to a species jump. This effort is the first of its kind and expands on consensus reports, such as one recently posted by the National Academies
Moyana, thanks for following.
Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, by exploring the potential for spillover and the mitigation of the related health and economic consequences. CWD, which affects cervids such as white-tailed deer, elk, and moose, is called by prions, infectious proteins that trigger abnormal folding in normal proteins, especially in the central nervous system.
Okay, we don't have to watch this whole thing, but I do find it interesting and sad that this guy's entire channel is just him freaking out about the potential of a zombie apocalypse. Just a bummer. All right, let's watch the video where they talk to a lobster. Let's go. So this is one of those channelers that we watch. They're gonna channel this lobster that broke out of a grocery store, I guess.
We come to you with a sad, sad day. If you haven't heard, the departure of Leon the lobster. It's sent ripples across the internet, and I know people are in mourning, so we wanted to take this.
Oh, real quick, Green Guy says, Hannah, I'm 40. Cheese is great. My wife is 487, and she loves cheese too. She is a vampire. Vampires, could they even eat cheese? It would need to be suffused with blood.
This as quickly as possible. It's a request from one of your Patreon members, Liz.
Is this the same people that channeled Biden? No, this is a different group, I think.
How are you today?
Oh, I'm good. Unfortunately, I've never heard about Leon the lobster until I got a few requests through asking if we could channel him because apparently he had quite a following.
Yeah, quite the YouTube star. Brady Brandwood rescued him from a supermarket and brought him home and put him in a beautiful aquarium, and then he developed another aquarium, and in Leon's third molt cycle, he became unresponsive in the tank and unfortunately couldn't make it, but he lost one of his limbs. And I wondered if, I don't know if we've done this before, you said you've talked to some animals at the zoo. Can we bring forth the entity of Leon the lobster, and he can
bring forth Leon
us from his point of view?
Oh, I've got him here. Yes, I have his soul here.
What does Leon's soul resemble?
It's like an outline, a shadowy outline.
Does he recognize his fame and notoriety, or is it not something that he was aware of on the Earth plane?
Was the lobster aware that he was a very famous lobster? The question we're all dying to know the answer to. Did this lobster know he was famous?
Did you recognize? He didn't know until after he left. He had
That fucker didn't even know he was a lobster. He died and gained sapience. Was like, oh shit, I'm a fucking lobster and I was famous on the internet. I know what the internet was now.
no idea.
What does he think about it now?
It's touching, is what he says.
Did he enjoy the attention that he got from Brady? And what was his relationship like with Brady?
Well, did you enjoy the attention? Oh, he loved Brady. And what was your relationship like with Brady? Oh, it was very nice. It was like a deep mutual understanding, unspoken understanding.
An unspoken understanding.
Brady would talk to him all the time.
Did he process the information that Brady was saying to him?
No.
How did he react on a conversational level then? What was his ability like? We have the ability to anthropomorphize individuals or entities or, animals. So what level was his communication at that he could recognize Brady was giving him?
It was tone and frequency. He knew that it was nice because it was a nice tone and nice frequency. The words don't really matter. It's about the vibration that is carried in the words. Very, very important. Words carry different vibrations.
Lobsters know English. After death, apparently. After death, they gain, sapience and intelligence of a humanoid. I don't understand why that's how souls work, but apparently it's how they works.
Level.
So it's basically an entirely new entity, just with the memories of a lobster, if you really think about it metaphysically. Barely the original guy.
He says, and he always received good vibrations from Brady.
Somebody asked, did he have a special mate in the sea because lobsters mate for life? And was he taken from her when he was captured, or had he not mated in life?
Did you have a special mate in the sea? He did, but he says that was so long ago. How long was he in this aquarium?
It was about 3 years. He'd probably been in the
Wait,
supermarket.
whoa, why are you asking your boyfriend? Ask the lobster. Wow, that's insane. You're talking to this dead lobster ghost. Ask him the question. Why you asking your boyfriend for outside information if you're talking to the lobster? Ask the lobster ghost, ma'am. I'm starting to think this might not be a legitimate channeling of a lobster ghost.
For who knows, I don't know how long, but it makes us see animal life in a different way, I think. Was there any special companion like your wife that you missed from the ocean days or
To
any
be
other?
fair, a lobster would not have the concept of years. He's speaking English. I think it's fair to say some concepts were gifted to him after he died. If they teach him English and the concept of, like, being, then certainly he knows years now, right?
Special animals that you had friendships with?
Did you miss her? I mean, I don't feel that as the consciousness of a lobster is what he's telling me. He had the capacity to miss and mourn.
Okay.
He definitely had the capacity to know that he left something behind. What did you think when you were being captured? Oh my God, he was in a terrible state of fear and shock.
So what was his cause of death?
What was your cause of death?
He's gonna diagnose his own death.
He's trying to tell me.
It goes so fast. Yeah, that's one of my criticisms of her. She doesn't even leave enough time where she could conceivably be listening to a ghost. Like, ghosts aren't real. I think when you're dead, so I don't think any of it's real. But, like, at least put on a performance, act like you're listening, like, oh yeah, what, really? Wow. And then you respond. She doesn't act like she's talking to anyone. She's just responds immediately.
What's your cause of death? It was a malfunction, he says. What do you mean by a malfunction? A malfunction in the copying of the cell. So when this new cell's copied over,
He knows what cells are. He knows what years are.
and were trying to replenish themselves, they were damaged. And
his
that
molt
was the
cycle.
decline.
Did it have anything to do with him losing one of his claws, or was that a sign of earlier sickness?
Did it have anything to do with you losing your claw? I mean, that was part of it. And was that why you? I mean, that was all part of why he passed. Yes.
Was the lost claw a result of earlier damage when he was captured, or is it something that happened while with Brady in captivity?
Was it that claw damage?
When you're dead, you're dead. Tell that to the ghouls. The ghouls don't care for conversation. They just want to eat my meats. And I don't blame them. I'm delicious.
In captivity, when you were captured, the shock of being captured, as he knows it now, he's on the other side, created a level of PTSD. It created damage within the body.
Post-traumatic stress lobster.
The fear, the shock, the horror. What did you think when you were being transported? I mean, it was just terrifying ordeal. Terrifying ordeal to be transported, to be locked up, to not be free. Did you know that when you were in the supermarket,
I do not regret saying that, no.
As a lobster in their tank, that people were coming by to pick lobsters out to eat them? Yes. He said, I could tell by the way they looked at me.
And how long after he was rescued by Brady did he understand that he didn't have that fear anymore and he was able to live, a more tranquil existence?
How long after being rescued? Almost immediately. He knew instinctively that Brady was not going to harm him.
What was his favorite food to eat while under Brady's control and also in the ocean?
Ooh, well.
Oh, she's got to think, what the fuck do lobsters eat? This one's going to take a little bit longer for a response, I'm guessing, because she's got to be like, what do lobsters eat? I don't know if, off the top of my head, I don't know what lobsters eat. Other fish, I guess. Probably little fish and, I don't know. Does she know?
What was your favorite food to eat? Let's ask him when when you were in the
Oh,
ocean.
see, oh, she's definitely Googling while she's talking. You can tell based on the way she's talking, what do lobsters like to eat? Because normally she'd give an immediate response, but here she's kind of like stretching.
Oh.
Oh, dead air this time. Oh,
Favorite food to eat. Let's ask him when you were in the ocean. Oh, okay. Do they feed on each other? Because I feel that they feed on. No, I didn't know this about lobster. I feel that they feed
I just channeled this from him, and definitely not from the top of Google.
on other bodies, but also like dead or just about to be dead bodies. So you feed. I didn't know that they were like, I guess you would say meat eaters. So you eat like meat and flesh. Yeah.
What do you think their fucking claws are for?
Yeah. So what was your favorite thing to eat? Shrimp.
How do lobsters perceive the passage of time, and how is it different in the ocean, in the supermarket, and under Brady's aquarium?
We're asking the real
Ooh.
questions. How do lobsters perceive the passage of time?
How is the living from the ocean life? Oh, like when I say ocean, he immediately transports back to this place of like freedom. But there's also a danger of being in the ocean, right? There's a
Sure.
lot of danger there. You're
Could
constantly
be worse, could be crabs. Crabs, the human sacrifice. What? The sea can't hold them. We can't stop them. They're here to kill. Is that a horror novel about crabs taking over? Fucking on.
on the move. You're having to be very sharp about your surroundings. You have to hunt, you have to kill, you have to mate, you have to survive. It's raw, pure, raw survival, he says. And what about when you were in the aquarium? Life was easy, life was good. Um, did you enjoy being there? I mean, he did enjoy being in the aquarium with Brady. I mean, it certainly took a load off, is what he said. I don't have to play those crazy competition, competitive survival games anymore. You know, who can outwit and outsmart the other one? And that's what competition is all about. That's what survival is about. Is who
That's the Survivor mantra, the show. Does
Oh,
he
really?
have? Can he tell us how many other incarnations he's had, and which incarnation this is?
Very
How many
important.
other incarnations have you had? He's had thousands of incarnations as insects, reptiles, birds. He's just now starting onto the aquatic incarnation cycle. So how many lifetimes
Phoenix, what did you want for the hats off? I don't have a lobster hat.
have you been in
I don't have a
the
lobster hat. Did you just assume I have a lobster hat?
ocean? About 500.
Worth the points for the joke. I'll give you the points back.
No, that to us sounds like a lot, but really for them it's nothing. I mean, we all were there at one time, right? Just because you're a human now doesn't mean that you weren't all of these things that you had to go through to lead up to the consciousness of a human being.
Right.
Did you enjoy being a lobster? Yeah, he did. He did. But Brady made it worthwhile.
So the aquatic path is now what? What is the crustacean go? And Leon's path, what animal next?
He's doing the lobster thing again.
Why? No. I thought
Yeah.
you'd be able to evolve beyond lobster status.
I'm doing the lobster thing again and they're upset. No, you already did lobster.
We were
He
hoping
likes
dolphin.
lobster.
All of us were hoping dolphin.
He's trying to prestige he's trying to prestige lobster class. Past lives reincarnation, yes. Reincarnation on the bingo card for the lobster. Bittergrin says, can I, disincarnate back into something else? Human was a mistake. Agreed. I would like a house cat or dog next time. Sounds nicer.
Oh, no, he's not there yet. Why do you want to be a lobster? He loves being a lobster. He loves it.
Holy, thanks
He
for
likes
following.
the power that he has. He likes the body. But what is going to happen in your next lifetime? Are you going to be captured again? No, not in the next lifetime. He will not be captured by humans and sold. He will be eaten by something much larger than he is. And after that lifetime, then he will evolve into something else. Back on land. You're going back on land? Yes, I feel he is going back on land.
Maybe a turtle?
Are you going to be a turtle? No, he's going to be more of a primate.
Oh, wow. Okay, so get
Can I
eaten.
search what movie came out in 1992? A lot of things came out in 1992. Dracula, Basic Instinct, Reservoir Dogs. Don't know why you need that information from me instead of Google, but we did it.
Be a primate. I guess that's the trade-off there. I mean, I don't know if it's too soon for him to give us this information or if he's even capable of giving us this information, but I kind of want him to be an ambassador for lobsters and the way that our society treats lobsters. Can he tell us something that we might not know or might not think about
Lobsters aren't big fans of being eaten, would be my guess.
being in this position?
Being in this position. Well, lobsters are considered a luxury item. They're not a necessity. There's lots of other things to eat apart from lobsters. Those that eat lobsters out of pure luxury and not necessity, you're creating karmic debt.
How does he feel about his, I don't know, humans who consume lobsters? Does he have any emotions towards them or animus?
Do you have any emotions towards humans that consume Yeah, he hates us all, right? There's no need for us to consume lobster. We have, according to him, there's a lot of choice available out there. We don't need
Is this lobster vegan? I'm just gonna put this out there. I think this lobster's a fucking hypocrite. This lobster eats shrimp. You fucker. You already said you eat other life forms. I think you're a hypocrite, lobster. And I'm glad you're dead.
need to herd the lobster population. He's telling me the lobster population is in severe decline. It's overfished.
Can he tell us something
What's even the issue then? They're all gonna get reincarnated anyway, according to you.
else about lobsters that we might not be able to comprehend or about living in the sea?
Did you see any mermaids? I'm thinking of what is it, The Little Mermaid. I love that little lobster on The Little Mermaid. No,
He's a crab. His name is Sebastian, and he's a crab, not a lobster.
can you tell us something about lobster? Well, we have feelings too. And did you know that you were going to be eaten? Yes.
Just a Peach says, I like my karmic debt.
They do know when they're being captured. They're terrified. They know. Is it in the lobster community that humans eat you? Yes, it's a well-known fact. We know that.
In the lobster community. Are you invited to the lobster cookout?
We try to avoid the traps.
Are they telepathic?
Are you Yes, they are somewhat
Lobsters are telepathic. We did it.
telepathic.
So what's in the lobster Twitter sphere? What can you tell us about? Was he still connected to them while there, or was he disconnected when he was removed from the population?
Were you disconnected when you were removed from the... It took a few days, but it disconnected, yes. And they did mourn his loss, actually. Briefly, but it's soon
Trey says they don't try to avoid traps. They go directly into them. There's no mechanism that forces them into the trap.
forgotten about, because that's the way the brain is on the level of programming. You know, the brain is programmed specifically for survival, so you don't have time to feel those complex emotions other than fear and terror and shock. That's what makes us different as humans. We have more time to experience in
No
the
problem, Carpcosian.
in the now. Like when we were
Right.
cavemen, we didn't have that brain capacity to really experience the full range of emotions. But as we are
That's not true. Like, is she saying other hominids didn't have emotions? What the fuck?
now, and with the with the brain capacity that we currently have, we have more time to experience and think about and process complex emotions.
The lobsters think that there's an afterlife. And what do you think about it now, knowing there is?
Ooh, do lobsters think that there's a afterlife? No, they don't know about that stuff. What do you think about it now?
They're psychic and communicate, but they don't have feelings on the afterlife. Okay.
That you are on the other side. Now he realizes like what the plan is. But when you're crammed in an animal body, again, the concept of an afterlife, that's a very, very unique emotion that is specific to humans.
Okay. Do lobsters dream?
Ooh, do you dream? Yes.
Do lobsters dream of electric shrimp?
And they can also dream while they are not asleep.
What
Like
type of things do
Daydream?
lobsters dream about?
What kind of things do lobsters dream about? Eating. Just
Mm.
eating, mainly just eating, finding an easy kill and really enjoying it without your life being on the line.
Does he ever dream that there was a school of fish that he had, and he forgot to chase the school of fish, and then he realized he had to go back to the school of fish? Everyone has that dream.
Do you realize that? Do you ever dream about a school of fish? No. He just, it really is about outsmarting the other, the predator outsmarting its prey.
I don't think
That's
she
what
understood the joke that guy was making about like school anxiety dreams. I don't think she understood.
survival is. And in his dreams, he says he's the one that always outsmarts the others.
Were there any karmic bonds or that he shared with Brady before he met him in a past life somewhere?
Ooh, were there any karmic bonds? Have you met Brady in a past life before? Yes. Brady was once a lobster.
That's why you saved him for a YouTube video, because he was the lobster.
But Brady evolves in his consciousness quite quickly. And he obviously is now a human. But is that why Brady went to rescue the lobster? Yes, this was in the soul contract. Will you see Brady again? Yes. Yes. In the next lifetime, Brady will be a zookeeper or some kind of zoologist, and the lobster Leon, is it Leon? He will be he'll be a primate in that location.
I want to give Leon this chance to tell humans something we might not ever know that will shock us about the ocean life or about lobster life.
Is there something you can tell us about the ocean that we won't? Yes, the ocean has a language. It speaks.
All right, on all the things she was gonna say, I didn't expect her to say that. The ocean has a language.
Well, yes, the ocean has a language. It speaks to us daily. The ocean is our God. If you wanted to put it into like human terms, The ocean speaks to us.
How? What's it say? Can it talk to us?
Can the ocean talk to us as humans? Yes, but you really would have to get on that vibrational level with the ocean.
Vibes-based conspiracy on the bingo card. You gotta get on the same vibes as the ocean man. Ocean man, take me by the hand.
Most humans are too busy, in their own thoughts to hear what the ocean is trying to tell them. But the
Listen here, ocean, I got bills to pay. I don't have time for your cryptic bullshit. Speak your mind, ocean, or shut the fuck up.
ocean can tell you a lot of things. The ocean, according to Leon, is telepathic. It can think, it knows what you're thinking, and it can also send you messages like,
Okay, note to self, don't have horny thoughts around the ocean. I don't know the depths of the sea to know my shame.
if there's danger, or if you're out of your area. It can also tell you that it loves you. It can tell you
A little presumptuous, ocean. We barely know each other. I've only been in you once.
everything you want to know about your life. It can tell you like your mate is just around the corner. It does all of these things for you. So the ocean does speak a language.
We've done
A
a probe
language of
previously on oceans. People can go back and look for that. We might do another one in the future. But I wondered if Leon could tell the other lobsters or his kinfolk something. What would he share with them?
It's the greatest. What is the greatest? Just trusting, even though
Are the
you
Great Lakes like bland oceans? Are they boring dates? The Great Lakes are better than the oceans, actually, because they're not salty. Bittergrin says, you've only been in her once, but she's been in your veins since before you were born.
end up being used for food, it's still very positive. Life isn't all bad being a lobster. He thinks being a human is terrible.
I can't disagree with you there, man.
He doesn't like the concept of being a human, which is why there's so much reluctance. And I think that what I'm picking up is why he and Brady again formed this soul contract, was to make Leon understand that humans are not all bad, and there are some very good aspects of being a human. Now, I've heard that from souls
Add advice.
before, where they're terrified of being a human. They don't want to be complex like what we are. It's too difficult.
People boil lobsters alive, it's nuts. That shit pisses me off. Like, I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan, so, like, I'm not, on some high fucking horse here. But if you're gonna cook an animal, kill it first. Like, if you're gonna cook a lobster, do the thing where you stab it in the brain real quick. Don't boil it alive, you sick fuck. Stab it in the brain. God damn, why are you making it suffer? I get you're gonna eat it, but it has feelings.
They like, they're used to the surviving, and they're used to being an animal. They don't want to necessarily be a human.
Can Leon tell us about his favorite lifetime now that he has the ability to look back across the thousands of other incarnations, and which one he enjoyed the most, if not the most recent one as Leon?
Ooh, which is your favorite lifetime? Can you show me? Where he was a grub on the tree.
That's aspirational. I just want to be a grub on a tree. Doesn't that sound nice? You just do grub things? Ugh.
And all he had to do was eat. And he loved that lifetime. No drama.
Well, Leon, we miss you, and I want you to know that the world mourns at your passing. How does that make him feel?
How does that mean? Oh, it makes him feel very loved and privileged. Like, wow. He's astonished by it, really. Yeah, and thank you to Annie and the others that recommended we did this video. I sent it to you and you're like, oh my God, he's dead.
Drama-free life of a tree grub. I don't know about that. If there's other tree grubs around, I'm probably gonna start shit. There's gonna be drama, but it'll be grub drama, so less stressful.
I'm like, who is he? Who is he? So you knew who he was.
I did. Very sad. Leon, we miss you. Thank you for joining us, and we wish you great success in your next couple incarnations as a primate. Feel free to come back then, and we look forward to seeing you and then. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Liz.
That was a good one. That was a quite good one. uh
Okay, so let's get into this part that I call the flood. 1. Likum, immortals. Paradu, children before Wakat, time and space, my beloved jewels of my eye. 2. Behold, was not this Partarak the way written in the days of our Salafu ancestors DNA? 3. And their Salafu ancestors before them. 4. And given unto us that we should pass it on to you. 5. The Karadu, children of days, yet unborn. 6. That if the ability of the scribe remains with you, it could be read in your own generation. 7. Read, O Karadu, children, Nuapians, of the unborn years, and absorb this most holy Partarak.
Oh my God, he's just reading the book for so much of this. Veto. Self-veto. Check out this one. This is about the Firefly Blue Ghost moon landing.
Successful here, then what we could be doing is paving the way.
Sure, Phoenix, I will be your kitty friend.
For people to have a permanent and growing infrastructure at the moon.
Yeah, sure. That can be word salad on the bingo card.
You're looking at Firefly Aerospace's Mission Operations Center here in Austin, Cedar Park, Texas, just north of Austin, where the team has been operating Blue Ghost Mission 1 for the last 45 days since launching from Kennedy Space Center. Welcome to the live landing coverage of Firefly's first road trip to the moon with our Blue Ghost lunar lander delivering NASA payloads.
Guess who's back?
So this is just a contractor, basically, that's doing a test run on landing on the moon with payload? Okay.
Back again.
Just a peach with a bingo. Let's take a look. Word salad, overt anti-Semitism, recording in car, loud minority thinks they're a silent majority, and QAnon referenced. Indeed, just a peach. You win. Let me write down your name. That's the bingo winner for today. We'll still play for fun, but that's the winner. Congrats, just a peach. I think that's your first win. That's the sports guy. He doesn't only do sports stuff. He's a flat earther, stuff like that too.
And Jake is back with another fake space mission.
Give random? Okay.
Welcome back, y'all. This is my bread and butter. This is how the channel got started. Breaking down fake space missions. Nobody breaks down fake space missions like your boy.
So with that said, today we're going to be breaking down Firefly's Blue Ghost lunar landing. Let's do this.
And Firefly's Blue Ghost Mission 1, called Ghost Riders in the Sky, was awarded through NASA's Commercial Lunar Payload Services, or CLPS initiative. With NASA's Artemis campaign, we are returning to the moon to conduct groundbreaking science and leverage technological advancements before people go back.
I actually didn't hear about this prior to it happening. I guess I'm not super tuned into this stuff, but I'm surprised flat earthers didn't talk about it before it was happening. Green guy with a $3 tip says, I was cutting up a potato, then I thought of its life being ripped from the ground, washed, forced in a bag with other potatoes, then the long dark journey to the grocery store to finally be bought, brought home, eventually cut up and cooked alive. Seth Rogen made a movie about that. It was bad. What was that called? What did they call that movie? Sausage Party. That was the name of that goddamn movie.
No, 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 lady. You are not returning back to the moon, so don't include yourself with we. What's
The we is clearly indicative of, like, humanity. I don't know why you're being pedantic about this. We all know what she means when she says we. It's the collective we.
with this we stuff? We are returning to the moon? No, lady, you're gonna sit there, you're gonna point at a computer graphic, you're gonna show a room full of people clapping, and then you are going to pretend as if something went to the moon. I personally don't believe anyone ever walked on the moon.
Do you think he practices these faces when he does the takes? Like, he looks in the camera and goes, I'll do silly Jim Carrey faces, and that's my argument, is I'm incredibly condescending, and make kinda stupid faces. Like, does he workshop these, or what? Instead of handing something substantive to say, he just mugs?
And I don't think anyone ever will walk on the moon, because I don't think the moon is something that can be landed and walked upon.
That's a pretty weird thing to think, considering people have gone to the moon multiple times.
In fact, I got this shirt right here.
Oh my god, he still has the shirt! I don't know if any of you guys have seen H-Bomber Guy's video on Flat Earth, but this is the famous lunar module or homeless tweaker shelter shirt. Just a really poorly designed shirt. Very funny.
It says lunar module or a homeless tweaker's shelter.
He really thinks he nailed it with that. I really don't get it.
Now, in my opinion...
Wow, he did a really bad job cutting out the module for this. Like, look at how badly he fucking cut this out. I never noticed before how poorly the PNG was, like, done. Oh.
The original 1969 lunar module, which supposedly landed on the moon, it looks more like a homeless tweaker shelter to me than it does an actual spacecraft, which supposedly landed on the moon. Just in case you don't know what you're looking at on my shirt, this is...
Lance with 100 bits says, random movie thoughts, only one man could do Blazing Saddles remake. That man is Jordan Peele. Probably true.
The 1969 original lunar module, which supposedly took men to the moon, and it landed on the moon.
It did. It's a lander. You can still, like, see parts of it.
Now, I don't believe for a second that this lunar module landed on the moon, and I don't think for a second that any lunar module ever landed on the moon.
Okay, but there's physical evidence of it. Literally, they left mirrors on the moon that if you have a laser, you can, like, fire it at the mirrors, and it proves they're there? So, like, how do you think those mirrors got there? I'm a little confused.
Including this Ghost Rider mission with their unmanned spacecraft. So when I hear this Firefly lady talking about we're gonna perform science on the moon before we send people back to the moon, hey, there was never people that ever went to the moon in the first place. NASA clearly lied. You have to be brain dead if
This makes me really sad, if I'm being honest. Just watching someone whose entire content brand is just smugly saying things. Like, he happens to be wrong, which makes it worse, but, like, isn't it sad that people watch this and they get entertainment out of just watching someone smugly repeat their own beliefs back at them? Do I do this? If this is me, end it now. Please don't. Please don't ever let me become this. Please don't ever let me become some smug bitch. I swear to God.
want to believe that any of those moon missions were ever real.
And later on, Blue Ghost Mission 1 is set to touch down on the lunar surface carrying 10 NASA science and technology instruments. Just over an hour from now, we will attempt to land in Mare Crisium, a basin in the northeast quadrant of the moon's near side, or the side we see here on Earth. A little south of Mare Crisium, you will find Mare Tranquillitatis, or Sea of Tranquility. That location might sound familiar since that's where the first Apollo astronauts landed on Apollo 11 in July 1969. That's over 55 years ago.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
That's a line, that's a specific clip from that NASA person that flat earthers love, because they go, oh my god, why would you destroy the technology? That's such a ridiculous statement. We destroyed the technology by going to the moon. Like, when we use a rocket, historically, the rocket's done. Once the boosters are done with their job, they're basically garbage. So they were destroyed on the trip. But because of the wording, flat earthers just love to play that clip.
So according to a NASA astronaut, they lost and...
He's not an astronaut. I don't remember his specific role, but he's not an astronaut, I don't believe. He's a support staff, an engineer, something. I don't remember exactly what.
Destroyed the technology to return to the moon. But here we are in 2025. They can take an unmanned mission to the moon. They can land a...
The unmanned mission that they just did is in preparation for more manned missions. That's the whole point, is that it's payload delivery. So the company that's actually testing this system isn't the one that's going to be putting people on the moon. That's being done, I believe, by NASA and SpaceX in a cooperation. This is program in which they will be bringing supplies. So long-term plans are they want to do bases on the moon, kind of like how they have bases in Antarctica, where they'll have, you know, permanent or semi-permanent locations where people can do research. So in that case, they'll need resupply and stuff like that. And this is one of the companies that is being paid to develop systems, develop payloads to the moon, as opposed to passengers. This is entirely about supply missions.
Lander on the moon, but yeah, it's been over 50 years since they've figured out how to return humans to the moon. So through this Firefly mission, they're gonna perform some science, and hopefully they're gonna figure out how to one day in the future get men back on the moon. So that is their official story. Now, if you choose to believe their official story, then you are officially brain dead.
This Blue Ghost mission has been a journey not only for our Firefly team, but the friends and family who have supported us. More than 750 Firefly employees have played a role in bringing this historic mission to life, and their loved ones have been an integral part of this journey. This impressive team is joining us now with our NASA customers, watching from a viewing location just down the road from our Mission Operations Center.
I want to be there. We're joining forces for this historic moment marking Firefly's first lunar landing.
Now, this is not my first rodeo. I have broke down several of these phony moon landings. I've also broke down some of the phony Mars rover landings. So here on my channel, I have done this many times. I am the best in the world at doing.
Sorry, what is this affect he's doing? Again, it's just... it's something.
This, and let me tell you what they're gonna do with this crowd who's at the viewing center. The crowd is used to celebrate and clap and cheer.
I mean, I imagine the crowd in that particular room are employees and stuff that have worked on this project for this company. They literally said. So I'm assuming some of it's probably investors, some of it's employees from different departments, families of said employees. Like, this one's a little different, because a lot of the time it's like NASA. I've seen certainly SpaceX ones, and they're a private company. But this one is like an inaugural event for this company, so it's probably going to be a lot of the people from the company.
They tell you that they've landed on the moon. They ain't gonna show you them landing on the moon. No. They're going to show you a computer simulation of them landing on the moon. And then they're going to show you a crowd who's happy, so happy that they landed on the moon. They repeat this over and over again. This is a trick that they've used many times. I've pointed it out over and over again. This is nothing new. So they've already told you they have a crowd just down the street at the viewing center. You guys, nobody cares enough to be a spectator to watch a simulated video from when an unmanned spacecraft lands on the moon.
All of the employees who helped that happen and worked for years towards that specific goal want to be there and celebrate their achievement together. Have you worked for a company ever? Lance with 100 bits says, how would they film the landing on the moon if they hadn't landed on the moon yet to put a camera there? I assume he's thinking more like a camera on the thing, but I don't know.
And then their celebrations are always so fake and phony and over the top. You really expect me or anybody with a functioning brain to believe people are celebrating an unmanned spacecraft landing on the moon?
They are when they were a part of getting it done. Again, a lot of these people are engineers and scientists who have spent their career working towards this. So yes, they care. This is an achievement that they are, like, a party to.
They're gonna celebrate it as much as their favorite fake phony football team winning a fake phony game. Get out of here. People care way more about their fake phony football than they do fake phony space missions. According to NASA, they've been to the moon before. They had people on the moon. They drove a dune buggy around on the moon. They played freaking golf on the moon. Now, they may have lost and destroyed that technology, but that's their own stupidity, right? So why should anyone, even if they believe in space travel, be so excited to cheer for an unmanned spacecraft landing on the moon that you don't even get to see?
Do you not understand the implications of a private company being able to do something that was only previously possible through the concerted effort and a large budget allocation from the United States government? Just a thought.
And before we touch down, let's go ahead and review our current mission status. Blue Ghost just entered a planned comms blackout on the far side of the moon where we have limited access to our ground stations on Earth. As you can see in our telemetry-driven simulation, the lander is currently in low lunar orbit, about 100 kilometers.
Bittergrin says, people have been born before. Why should anyone celebrate birthdays? He's acting like we've been to the moon like hundreds or thousands of times, too, which it's like, we haven't? We could count on one hand the number of manned moon missions? Like, he's acting like it's played out. I find that a little strange.
Above the surface as we get ready for our descent orbit insertion, which is going to be in about 10 minutes.
So right there, they just literally admitted what they're showing you on screen is a telemetry-driven simulation.
Yes, they have the telemetry data from the lander, but they don't have a camera on it, because that would require a whole separate craft. That would also be a thing, and then you'd go, well, where's the camera on the second craft?
Meaning, they don't have a live camera feed of the lander landing on the moon. You don't get to see the lander landing on the moon at all. What they are going to show you is some CGI, and they're going to call it telemetry-driven simulation. They do this a lot now. They tell you what you're looking at on screen is a simulation. So they don't even...
Jay's Proxy says, if they had a camera, it's on the dark side of the moon, so it would be dark. Oh, is it on the dark side of the moon?
Try and trick you into thinking that that CGI is the real thing. They admit to you it is indeed a simulation. Here's the thing. Why don't they have a live feed? How come there isn't any live video footage of this thing landing? How come they don't have a bunch of cameras attached to the outside? Oh,
When you start attaching cameras to the outside, all of a sudden you have a bunch of extra problems. Like, I get it. It would be cool to have a camera, and I imagine as stuff like this gets more common, there will be. But I can think of a multitude of reasons it wouldn't make sense to put a camera on it, necessarily. Because it's going to cause issues. Like, the more things you strap onto it, the more problems you're creating for yourself.
Well, it's because it's so far away on the far side of the moon that they just don't have that capability. And I think they lost and destroyed that technology, if I'm not mistaken. So,
I don't disagree, Amber, but it's a symptom of a bigger issue, so I don't know. I'm choosing not to be too bent out of shape about it. Again, I feel it's a symptom of a bigger issue, but whatever.
CGI, telemetry-driven simulation is what you get. And guess what? You have to fully accept that that represents their lander about to land on the moon. And if you question it, if you say, hey, how do we know that that thing accurately represents what the lander's actually doing? How do we know there even is a lander in outer space? It's telemetry-driven simulation data. Just trust it. It comes from NASA. You know, those people.
It's not so much that you need to just trust it. That's not what we're saying, man. It's more so about the fact that the number of people involved in these fields, looking at papers put out by these companies, looking at the actual data that comes out of missions like this, there are a ton of people in those fields, and if there was something fishy, it would get called out. Because there's competitors. Like, I'm not saying that competition is always the best thing, but I am saying it has a tendency to incentivize people calling out fraud. So it doesn't really make sense for them to fake it and then have no other competitors point that out.
People who totally didn't lie about going to the moon back in 1960.
Oh, and it's funny, too, because even if they did have a camera on this thing, there were cameras. Look at this is from the original moon mission. And they still think it's bullshit, so you can't win. When there's not a camera, they call it sus. When there is a camera, they call it sus. Can't win.
Totally didn't lie about going to the moon back in 1969. Yeah. Just trust those guys blindly and their telemetry data.
But in the meantime, you can track the mission progress in the timeline bar at the bottom of the screen. And throughout the show, you'll see even more graphics that are driven by our real telemetry data from Blue Ghost. Those gauges are frozen now, but will activate once we reacquire signal with the lander. The simulation you see is about 15 seconds delayed, so we'll be landing on the moon just before you see it on your screen.
So this is a delayed CGI simulation.
Wait, is he pointing out delayed? Sir, that's a limit of the universe. Like, the signal from the moon going at the speed of light has a limit. Because, again, that's just physics. There is a limit to the speed of light. So when you're communicating using wireless technology, there's going to be a delay across that distance, because it's very far away.
Of an unmanned space mission. And there's a crowd at a viewing center down the street who wants to see a delayed CGI simulation.
Yes, the people that worked on it. Correct.
Of an unmanned space mission. Please, show me these actors. I can't wait to see how fake excited they get when they see a delayed simulation of an unmanned moon landing.
See Amber.
3 contacts.
Have fun.
Trip. Engine shutdown confirmed. Power's nominal vehicle is charging.
IMU reports lunar gravity and it is stable. Alcon, Chief Engineer on Ops. Y'all select the landing. We're on the moon.
Firefly Aerospace just became the first commercial company in history to complete a fully successful moon landing. Congratulations to the entire team. This is such an incredible feat.
Oh yeah, this guy's incredibly irritating.
Firefly,
I know.
NASA, our nation, and the world as we pave the way.
Yeah, so this is people who work at the company, their friends, their family, whoever that was their plus one. They're excited because they achieved the project they'd all been working on.
For a lasting lunar presence.
Congratulations, Bridget. And to our Firefly
I
and
like the little moon centerpieces they have on the tables. That's a nice...
NASA teams. What a nail-biting moment in history. The joint teams are now celebrating or enjoying.
How is he missing this? They even say the joint teams. Like, they're literally in the video expressing that these are the employees. You can see the logo on their shirts for the company. How does he not get it? He's acting like these are randos.
This much-deserved celebration at
And their corporate bonuses just doubled, yeah.
our landing event here in North Austin, Texas. This marks the beginning of the next phase of the mission, surface operations. How are you feeling, Bridget?
Honestly, overwhelmed. I am so proud of our team. Firefly has a...
I'm imagining all of these command center people are excited to shut this shit down and go to the party.
way of constantly exceeding expectations. This is a perfect example of that.
So check it out, y'all. All they need to do to convince and trick millions of people into thinking that they landed a spacecraft on the moon, all they need is a delayed CGI simulation, a room full of people pretending to be excited.
They're excited. They've worked on this for years.
And that's it. Just that. A little bit of CGI, some people happy and clapping, and look at all these people. Do you really expect me to believe that that many people hung out in a room and watched a delayed...
Again, did he really, did he watch the videos he's using? They are the employees of this company.
CGI simulation, and then they celebrated this much?
Has he never worked on any project in his life and felt a sense of satisfaction when you successfully complete that project? Because, it's a good feeling.
Yeah, right. Nobody gets that excited over a delay.
He's never experienced joy or accomplishment before. I don't get it. I don't get it.
CGI simulation. Now, these people who supposedly work there and they are employees, you could make the argument that they would be excited because it's their job, it's their passion. But
yeah.
all of these other hundreds of people...
They're also employees, you... I don't like to call people idiots. I don't. But did he listen to the video he played? They literally explained that these are the employees. Does he not understand that the company has this many employees?
People crammed into this room.
Not to mention their partners.
Why are they
plus
that
ones.
excited? Are these even real people? At this
Yeah, they
point,
are.
I'm wondering if this is like a group of CGI people pretending to be excited. So there you have it, y'all. You got some CGI. You got a group of people. Personally, I think it was a bit of an underwhelming celebration. In fact, let's take a look at some of my breakdowns from the past, and I'll show you what I consider to be the best fake space celebrations. Moon landing celebration.
Oh, he thinks this guy's Alex Trebek? That's funny. He thinks this guy's Alex Trebek because they both have gray hair and a mustache?
meters.
Just a Peach says, that's how many people it takes. You have the right name.
20 meters. 17 meters, standing by for touchdown.
He is a dick.
That's fantastic.
This never gets old.
No, it doesn't, Rob.
You got that right, Rob. It just never gets old watching NASA lie to the public and steal billions of dollars. Man, I could just watch this stuff all day long. It never gets old. So now, without further ado, the grand finale. Here it comes.
Touchdown confirmed.
What a celebration.
That was fun.
Yeah, that handshake. We've been practicing it. I know. They were
Has he never known people who have, like, a handshake together? I've never been in a friendship where I've had a handshake, but I've known people who've had handshakes. That's like a thing some people do. I assume they're friends and work together often, and they prepped that, and it's something they do.
better at it than we are.
I think we should make that a thing.
It feels like part of his problem is that he's bereft of experience of human relationships in the workplace. I think that's a little bit of some of his issues, is he doesn't know what it's like to work with people that you like, at least a little bit. I don't know. Anyway. So, I think that's it for the day. Thank you, everyone, for another successful Tinfoil Tuesday. This was a good one. We had some really good stuff today, so thank you for hanging out. I am really glad we got the lobster thing. Man, good stuff. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow. I have a really great conspiracy documentary lined up for us to watch called Waiting for Nasara. It's about a group of people basically waiting for a secret law to go into place that will solve all of their problems. Pretty interesting. So come and check that out. We'll watch it together and talk about sort of the psychology of conspiracy, as we do. Lance with 100 bits says, since he brands himself an asshole, I think he may be lacking in human companionship. It's possible. Alright, so let's see who we're going to raid on Twitch. If you haven't already, consider giving me a follow on Twitch or a subscription on YouTube. If you are on YouTube, do me a favor and like the stream. It helps. And I'll be back tomorrow. What's VC Archives doing? Watching Trek? Sounds good. Alright, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Love you, Mr. Blast. And I'll see you tomorrow. I do have work tomorrow, but I don't get out super late, so I'll be around. See you then. Night-night, everyone.